Up only.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Up only.
Hello and welcome to Up Only TV. I'm Ledger. In a minute, we'll get to Cobie and the Bitcoin maximalist guest friends that we have on today. Excited to have them on the show. First, let's get to our partner today. It's Blockfolio. Go to uponly.tv/Blockfolio to check them out today. You can trade on Blockfolio. It's a great place to do it. It's seamless trading from one asset to the other. It also has all the free portfolio tracking features you've loved since 2014, fully powered by FTX books. It's a great experience. Thanks to our friends and partners over at Blockfolio. Once again, uponly.tv/Blockfolio. Check it out. Thanks to Blockfolio for being our exclusive partners of Up Only. Cobie, hello.
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. I just noticed Udi's what Udi's put on his background. I was just like trying not to laugh. I didn't know if my mic was on. How you doing? How's everyone doing? We got Brad, we got Peter, we got Udi. It's the Bitcoin breaking down below 53k party, the death of Bitcoin party. He's trying to reverse it again. How you all doing?
All right.
Good.
Udi, what's happening? Why
Very
is it
good.
the death of Bitcoin?
Very good. I think it's over, right? I think it's finally
a failed
over.
experiment.
I mean, it was a good time. I'm looking for. I have so many tabs open. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, it's over. Looks pretty bad.
Just
Well, it's a
checking
good
the
thing.
charts.
It's a good thing we have Ethereum to save us.
A true
Wait, are you guys in a-
inflationary asset.
Are you guys in Ethereum? I'm all in PancakeSwap now.
Well, I'm looking for. The ultrasound market is at least $10 billion projected by 2025. So I'm excited. I was doing some research.
The ultrasound meme is super lame, isn't it? Like as far as memes go, the Ethereum community is quite bad. They're quite bad at memes. They're not very good like internet jokes. The ultrasound money meme is like acceptably very bad.
But I think they're serious though.
Yeah, no,
They're getting better. They're getting better.
I think that's why it's bad. The thing is, at the most Maxi end, and no offense to any of you, at the most Maxi end, it always just like converges on cringe, doesn't it? Like no matter what you're a maximalist of, it's just like full cringe. The Cardano maximalists, it's full cringe. The .eth people, it's full cringe. Like no matter what it is, like choose your asset. It's all the same thing, really.
Well, it depends on your camp, right? Depending on your camp, you will probably think that the rest of them are cringe.
I have a starting question though. Like, why do we have camps? Like, why do camps exist? Like,
Well,
why is this such a polarizing space to where, like, this doesn't really occur in stocks. It's not like Apple Maxis versus Amazon Maxis. You know
What? Apple Maxis versus Microsoft Maxis was definitely a thing. Like Apple fanboying.
Apple versus Microsoft. That's true. But
Apple, Google too, Android, iOS.
from the tech perspective, but not from like the investing perspective.
that was more about like consumers, yeah, not investors, I think. Tesla has like maxi investors, I would say.
Yeah, and it has anti-Maxis too.
Yeah, Tesla is another example of where there's like FUD all the time against the price and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's
maybe
the
just
Bitcoin
as a
fault.
society we're degrading in sort of critical reasoning skills and just going back to tribal camps. Like my number would go up better than your number.
Do you think if Bitcoiners didn't hate everything else, there would be these camps? Or do you think it's just because Bitcoiners hate everything that isn't Bitcoin, that's created the camps? Like if Bitcoiners like, yeah, fuck it, I love everything. Like everyone would just be cool. We'd all be Kumbaya.
I think there is a bunch of people that are like, yeah, cool, I love everything ish, but they just get called shitcoin scammers.
Well, I
It's
think
not
we
true
would-
that all Bitcoiners hate everything else. It's just not the case. Like there's this small-ish group on Twitter which is like, I will not own anything but Bitcoin. I will not own clothes, and I will not buy a house. and I will not have a car. I will not own anything. I will not eat. I will not drink. There are those people, but I would say they were always a minority. Like most people do own other things that are not Bitcoin.
Can we set the stage for where you guys fit on the Bitcoin maximalist spectrum? So like Peter, you spend money on real life, which is apparently illegal in certain corners of Bitcoin maximalism, but you don't own other assets.
Yeah, I'm in this unique position where I've managed to really piss off the Bitcoiners and then also piss off the shitcoiners. I've just pissed everyone off. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist that none of the Bitcoiners like.
Yeah, it's like, but because you spent money on your real life once you made some.
I spent money. I ate vegetables.
You got a vaccine.
I don't lift weight. Yeah, I got a vaccine.
You're sponsored by the Winklevoss twins. I saw that cost a little.
That's a big one. That one triggered me.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Hold on, Brad. Hold on, Brad. Do you remember when I was in Colombia getting a flight to Venezuela and you phoned me up? I'm not going to tell the exact story, but you've made some money on shitcoins. You can shut the fuck up.
I thought the story was going to be like, can you bring me some back, bro?
Probably most of your money you made on shitcoins.
No, definitely not most, because I was in Bitcoin pretty early, so I still kept the bag from them. But I definitely shouldn't have ever sold any Bitcoin and shouldn't have ever even tried to trade the cryptos. But I did.
Some money on your shitcoins.
Wait, so on the spectrum here, you're saying had you just bought Bitcoin, kept the Bitcoin you bought, never sold, you'd have more money than having bought and sold, but then bought altcoins along the way. But you still made money on altcoins when you did so, right?
Yeah, I lost, in 2014, I lost a lot of my stack in Mt. Gox. So I was in the position where I wanted to do whatever the hell I could to make back the Bitcoin that I lost in Mt. Gox.
Including like trading Feathercoin or something.
Yeah, investing in whatever shit there was, like shit coins and doing things behind dumpsters, whatever.
Brad, did you lose more Bitcoin on Mt. Gox or playing poker this year?
It's a tough one.
The pause in the answer made me think it was the poker.
Yeah.
Brad,
I suck at poker.
I love Brad. He's the worst poker player ever.
I suck at poker.
You fucking suck.
Brad, are you going to Miami and are you open for a night of poker?
Please. Yeah, please.
I'll Skype in. I'll zoom in.
I think that the Maxi camps exist because there are like three possible roads for people that trade altcoins in their life. Like road one is exceptional profits and you make it and then you just remain a shitcoiner forever.
I call that the Cobie road.
Yeah, the Cobie road. Road number two is you trade it, you maybe do well for a while, you think you're a genius, then you lose 90% of what you made, and maybe you end up like net negative from your like altcoin trading activity in total, and you retreat into maximalism as a defense mechanism against your own decision making. Or three, you lose all your money, say crypto is a scam, and exit the space entirely.
I don't think I fall into any of those.
Yeah, there's another road. Fourth.
Here's what I look. There are like types of people in the world, and this would shock you, but some people are just not interested in trading cryptocurrencies. Like you can make money. You can make money trading cryptocurrencies. Like some people can. That's true. But I mean, you can make money like I don't know, like selling iron to people. Like there are multiple ways to make money. Not everyone chooses the same way.
Iron.
Yeah, I don't know. Buy cheap lumber, sell expensive lumber. You can do that. There are plenty of ways to make money, and then no, sure, but it's not trading shitcoin specifically. I'm just saying, there are many ways to generate income. And trading isn't the only one. So some people just don't want to do it.
Here's my question.
They do not find it very interesting.
Here's my question.
But do you think the crossover of people that are not super interested in trading crypto and the people who are Bitcoin maximalists and spend all their time online talking about cryptocurrency, do you think the crossover is very large? Because I agree, like, I'm sure there's loads of people that are trading lumber and stuff to make money, But I don't think they also spend all their time talking about cryptocurrency online and keeping up with all the crypto news. Maybe that's
Well, they're
only
talking
you.
They're talking about Bitcoin. Well, I'm not ashamed to say that I've had some money in shitcoins in the past. Probably most of the money I ever made was with shitcoins and not with Bitcoin, probably. But I mean, I don't think it's interesting to most people. And I don't think that it's like, I don't think that the narrative behind like, oh, you know what, like Solana is going to replace Bitcoin. I think it's silly. Solana can be very interesting to some people, but like people who buy Bitcoin, a lot of people buy Bitcoin because either it's, a political belief, or it's a passive investment for them, or maybe not even investment. It's kind of a way.
Really?
I think. Well, a lot of
People go.
But I think the loud people on Twitter, yeah, I think so. Like people who are loudly saying sell your car and buy Bitcoin. I don't think like you could sell your car and buy like Pancake Swap. Like why would you buy specifically Bitcoin after selling your car?
Political belief. People are buying Bitcoin for. I don't buy it.
I think that you mean
it's a way to save money.
What do you mean philosophical, political,
invest.
same thing, or you mean specifically like Democrat, Republican, political?
I think if they knew the price was going to go down, if it say it was guaranteed to go down, but they could buy it as a political belief, they wouldn't buy it. So everyone buys it for gains. Everyone buys everything.
But that's true. That's true of everything. That's true. But that's true of everything. Like if you could promise me 100% that what it's called, that DentaCoin is going to flip Bitcoin tomorrow, then I would buy DentaCoin. If this is guaranteed, then yeah, I would. and if I knew that it's not, then I would sell it. But then no one's
assuming
you don't have a guarantee.
Wait, so Peter, what about somebody like Eric Voorhees, where he's not like just a Bitcoiner, but he's kind of peak cryptocurrency, like really against KYC and some of those things that he's had to battle with building his own business. The way I've seen him represented, that documentary forever ago and some other stuff, like he's very philosophically driven, if not politically driven, right?
Yeah, well, yes, he is. But you can be philosophically driven and like Bitcoin, but I don't think you buy it unless you think the number's going to go up, right? Otherwise, it's a stupid investment.
Sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
you're not going to buy something if you think it's going to go down.
The starting point for anything is you think the number's going to go up. So I think that's a starting point. And then I think you find the narrative that suits you, whether it's politically driven, whether it's philosophically driven, whether it's use case driven. But I just think you might as well be honest. Everybody is buying something because they think it's going to go up and it's going to change their.
Everybody wants to increase their buying power in life, and
that's not a bad thing though.
Yeah, and some people.
No, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, I don't think people actually think that Bitcoin is going to outperform every other asset on the planet, because that's ridiculous. Like obviously, Peter, if you're going to start a company now, and right now the stock of that company is going to be around zero, and maybe it's going to be worth trillions in the future, then this is going to outperform Bitcoin, right? Possibly. Like there are going to be assets in the universe that outperform Bitcoin. So if your only goal is to optimize your value, then there's no reason to think that buying Bitcoin is the best way to do it at any point in time. Not even, in day one of Bitcoin. There can always be assets that will outperform it.
Yeah, but Bitcoin now has a track record of 200% average per year, right? So people are kind of comfortable with that.
Well, but Ripple has a better record. Ripple has gone
for 10 years.
More percent almost 8 years, 7 years. Yeah.
And they're about to defeat the SEC. That's going to be huge for the price of Ripple, like $500 probably.
But the SEC's kind of become a tax now, hasn't it? It's kind of become like, do what you want as long as you give us 5 to 10%, and like we'll wait as long as possible to maximize our gains.
Yeah, well, not in the case of Kin and Ripple. I think like they're making an extra effort to make an example out of those egregious cases.
Isn't the Kin situation over?
Yeah, but now the tokens moved to Solana and it's pumping or something, right?
Yeah, like the community launched it or something.
So it's not the real project then. It's like a community launch.
Yeah, but I think it went to the same holders or something somehow.
So
I gotta check my wallet.
I'm kind of astounded.
I don't have any of that.
I'm about to defend the maximalist angle, but if we talk about Brad's discussion earlier about, I wish I just didn't do all this other stuff with Bitcoin that I ended up losing. You could get distracted when, to Peter's point, if you're getting 100% plus gains on an average year, even counting in bear markets and all that stuff, then those distractions, you may think I'm going to go outperform Bitcoin for a while, but it turns out to be really freaking hard, and you might lose it. You might get taxed on it, all this stuff. So why not just like hitch your wagon to a very formulaic asset with network effects, yada, yada, and assume that train's going to keep rolling, right?
Yeah, but Bitcoin has no utility, so you got to buy something like ETH that you can earn an interest on.
You can earn interest on Bitcoin. You can earn interest on Bitcoin. Do your shill quick, Peter. Go.
Celsius.
What's Celsius?
Do you know Celsius?
Sponsor
the
immediately pulls
interesting-
out.
The interesting thing about Celsius is their CEO invented the internet. I don't know any of you know this.
He invaded the internet and
He invented the internet.
VoIP and the blockchain too. His
And he
partner
invented VoIP.
invented blockchain.
He actually discovered gold, and he founded. No, this is true. And he also founded NASA. Mashinsky. He founded NASA, and he invented the internet. I think he also. I'm pretty sure he created the Russian language.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah.
He's a very funny guy though. He's
he's a
funny
cunt.
in a cringy way, but
He's also got a
well, you
very
can do
powerful
both.
natural contraceptive.
Just his looks? Is that it?
His general demeanor, yeah.
Don't like that guy.
All right, so
And what's his name in case he's watching? Shout out to
Alex Mashinsky, creator of VoIP, Russian, NASA, the internet, gold, everything. Pretty much invented everything.
Are we doing another Death of ETH party but for Celsius? is it just going to start
Oh,
ripping now?
So I want to go ahead and dig into the Bitcoin pattern for being disinflationary over time that we all know versus the
Sounds a bit serious.
squiggly line, maybe someday deflationary pattern for Ethereum in the 1559 world. Specifically,
right.
how does that
It's a bit complex with
2059?
Pete.
Oh, EIP 1559.
EIP.
This is a bit complex with Peter. Peter's done no research into what Ethereum is.
I text you earlier and you said we were shit talking. I don't know what this is.
Well, me and Cobie don't talk
Well,
about
Peter's
the
gonna
shows ahead of
delegate to
time.
me.
So we don't talk about the shows ahead of time. So, you know, what one host says, the other host really has very little control unless he tells me to stop.
Peter, what do you think of EIP 1559? What are your
All right, wait, bad question. Peter,
What?
what does EIP 1559 do?
Is that the Ethereum Improvement Protocol change, which means they burn gas fees?
That's
God.
the one. That's the one.
That'll do.
You
That'll do.
The thing is, this is exactly the thing. You view this as like as a way to dunk on people. Oh, you don't know what 1559 is. That's exactly the point of investing in Bitcoin. Some people are not interested in tracking the changes in other cryptocurrencies that happen.
but
was I right? Was I right?
It'll pass. It'll
Yeah,
pass.
we're right. Yeah.
The thing, but Udi, the thing is, like, I totally accept that. I also think the argument that Maxis have that Bitcoin is the best way to like keep your sovereignty with money and the best possible attempt at separating money from state. I think those arguments are true too. Like Peter not knowing what EIP 1559 is, although he kind of does, so it's fine. While running the biggest Bitcoin podcast. The biggest?
I would actually say the biggest crypto podcast.
The biggest crypto podcast,
Sir.
and
Be
continually dunking on
What about the
continually
rate of
dunking on
growth, though?
Ethereum.
Oh,
Like,
it's
you-
growing big.
Yeah, there should be like
Well,
some
but-
level of research into it.
1559 is new. Is relatively
come-
new. I mean, new is an accepted thing. It's not like it's been 2 years. So I think
It's been like a year.
fair to not. It's been discussed for a long time, but it hasn't been accepted for a long time, right? You can't expect everyone to be aware of all the proposals on Ethereum.
Well, what about the Bitcoin?
I think
the soft fork in 2017, and if that had been a hard fork, I mean, there's a lot of different paths that could have gone down. Where
that was
the way you talk is a lot different now.
I agree, and I think that the way that went down, and which kind of enforced the idea that it's not going to happen again. It looks like, we're not going to have another hard fork like that. We're not going to have like another block size debate. It's over. And so I think that was a very bullish thing for Bitcoin. Like you don't have to track that anymore. And for example, you guys probably don't even know, there's a lot of like wars going on about Taproot right now, which is a feature that will come into Bitcoin in the future. And it's completely irrelevant to anything. Like it's not relevant to the price in any way whatsoever. I don't think any investor cares about it because it's just not important. So you have a bunch of techies who fight about it, but it just doesn't matter. And that's how it should be. Like, those developers shouldn't have power over the asset. They shouldn't.
I think that's true for most information about Bitcoin, though, right? Because like, there's very little new information you could give someone about Bitcoin that makes them want to sell because of the type of holders that it's acquired. And like Bitcoin is like, if it's going up, I'm going to hold it. It's like a massive momentum trade for the entire planet.
It's true now, but it wasn't in 2017.
Yeah. Have you seen what Bitcoin Cash is doing now? They're moving to the EVM.
What? Are they really?
Yeah, dude, it's like Google Smart BCH. Yeah,
But
Smart
is
BCH.
that BCH ABC or BCH whatever? Because they forked again. Eh? It's there's
How many?
It's Jihan, I think. It's
not Roger.
Okay, so there's Roger BCH and Jihan BCH, and then there's BSV.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but BSV is like a full meme, isn't it? Like that's the only thing that's underperformed cash since the coronavirus happened. Like they printed $10 trillion or something, and BSV went down. It went down against the dollar. It has so little demand that people were like, yeah, this is actually worth less than money. This is worth less than the US dollar.
I know the 2017 soft fork versus hard fork stuff, like, I actually think that ended up being the most important protocol decision for Bitcoin to have.
You weren't at DevCon Berlin.
Well, I'm saying
I was at Berkheim, mate. I was losing it.
But like for Bitcoin to make it, I think that the network effects really would have been threatened if you would have essentially opened the gates for the hard forks and a lot of work that has to be done over time. And I think that, like, the threats to Bitcoin being the winner at the end of the day they would have a lot more merit if Bitcoin had regular hard forks, just because of the network effects of software. So I think that actually ended up being a really good outcome. But what I fear for Bitcoin stuff is, like, if there's this aversion to change at all costs that goes too far. Do y'all think that's a threat as Bitcoin, like, you're fully invested on the Bitcoin side? So do you think that is a potential problem, or is it a feature?
Don't you think it's just a transition that the majority of these like assets are going to go through? Like, over time, as it matures, community will become more and more adverse to change, and people who are like bullish on change will spin up new projects.
I think so. I think if you look at like Ethereum a year ago, then I think a lot of the economics about it were just bad, so they could not ossify because they were bad. And things like, I think 1559, and I have some thoughts about 1559 long term. I'm not sure it's going to play out as great as everyone thinks, but it's definitely better than not having it, right? Like, for holders of Ether, it's clearly better than not having it.
Do you think so? Is the reason you think it might not play out because you're basically having a negative inflation rate on an asset that's intended to be utility, and an exchange, like a medium exchange, and therefore there is no desire to exchange it if it's deflationary?
No, that's not what I would be concerned about. I think that if you take the view that these assets are supposed to just go up in value, and that they're competing on which one goes up in value the most, then in order for Ethereum to do that with 1559, it has to be the one that is most used, right? Which is not, like, that's not the case with Bitcoin. Bitcoin not going for that at all. But with Ether, it has to be the one that's most used for that to happen. And then, so, you know, the naive, like, back of the envelope calculation would be, okay, let's look at money that goes to fees right now. And let's say instead of this going to miners, it's going to go to holders, and it maybe can even grow over time. And that's a great deal. But what I would be concerned about is, sure, of course, it's a good deal for holders, but is it a good deal for the consumers, the users of the network? Why should the users of the network, like right now, why should they pay miners? And in the future, why should they pay Ethereum holders, where they could use centralized chains where they don't pay anyone? And it doesn't have to be like specifically BSC, but I would say, you know, like, let's say Aave is a good protocol that people want to use. So why shouldn't Aave like issue their own blockchain and do everything there?
Well, there's an idea that people still value the decentralized nature of it, even if it doesn't like fit everyone's, you know, requirements for like what's decentralized enough. Like Ethereum's still going to be quite a bit more decentralized than just about anything else with compute stuff built in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just not sure that people value that as much as the thesis goes. Like, in order for that to work, you would need people to really value that decentralization thing.
Well,
because to me, it seems like
Ethereum...
like Aave is great, so let's do an Aave blockchain. Compound is great, let's do a Compound, which they are. Let's do a Compound blockchain. Let's do a... well, I think a lot of people just want the money. People just want to make money. I don't think they care about, most people, right? I don't think they care about the centralization concept of it. Like I don't own Bitcoin because it's decentralized. I don't care about that. The decentralization is the means to an end. And the end in the case of Bitcoin is I want it to be a currency that I know is neutral and can't be changed. And I just don't know of a way to do that without a blockchain. But with Aave, I do know the way to do it without a blockchain.
You said neutral and can't be changed, but it can be changed. So it's neutral and requires consensus for change, and that's the same thing for something with a compute layer. There's a consensus mechanism built into the Ethereum protocol that everyone agrees that that's okay, that it requires those things for change.
That's the technical explanation, but the practical explanation is that it cannot be changed, and we know that empirically because people tried to change it and could not. Well, people try to change Ethereum and they could. They do it all the time. The Ethereum supply schedule increased just this year or late last year. So, like, it's possible. People do it.
Sorry to interrupt. This is the argument against ultrasound money. The argument that Bitcoin is sound money is that the monetary policy hasn't changed since launch of the protocol back in 2009. As soon as EIP 1559 activates, that's a new monetary policy. So it has, the day it launches, it has 0 days. It has 0 days of living with that monetary policy. So to be sound money, one of the requirements is that you have certainty about what the monetary policy is, and you don't, even with EIP 1559, you don't have any certainty. And what happens if they change, like what if something goes wrong with that and they have to change it in another year, something else happens. So I just think that's the argument against ultrasound money, is that it seems to be quite easy to change the monetary policy of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. That's my like comparison. That's not me being like that's not me being Maxi anti Ethereum. I'm actually not as Maxi as some people think. Most of the time I'm just winding people up on Twitter. I couldn't give a fuck.
Bro, you're pretty Maxi. I text you on WhatsApp God tier trading advice, and you said I can't do it, I'm Bitcoin only. That is pretty Maxi.
Yeah, but the truth is that every time I've ever traded an alt, it's gone down. I've done one.
You don't want to ruin my trade.
I've done one alt trade in the last year, right? I've done one in the last year. Luke Martin got in touch. He said, buy Solano. I was like, I don't fucking trade alts. He's like, it's going up. I bought Solano and it went down, so I sold it. And then it went back up. So I was like, and I'm looking at it now and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, I don't care. I would trade alts if I thought I'd make money. I always lose money. But I've made a lot of money in the last year by stacking my Bitcoin and holding it. So I'm cool.
So,
all right, I could add another 50%.
This is your Solana bag right here that you sold.
Thank you.
They
Cheers,
sent it to
man.
me.
That's my bag. Motherfuckers.
Product placement.
I also think it's right. Like I think that the philosophical argument around sound money falls in favor of Bitcoin every time. It's evident that the Ethereum community is much more of the Facebook thesis, like move fast, break things, try new things, see what happens. And Bitcoin has a way stronger argument of being like a trustless sound money. If you put me in a coma and I wake up in 5 years, I know that Bitcoin's mining schedule is going to be the same, Bitcoin's economic policy is going to be the same, and I can't tell you what Ethereum's is. There might be one Ethereum left, and like it's owned by Vitalik, and he shares it out to all these like people, like that. I know that that's viable, but at the same time, from my perspective, I plan on being plugged in to the space for the next few years, and I can also rationally say that the economic policy change for Ethereum in the short to medium term is extremely favorable for Ethereum holders, and therefore it makes it like a good medium term investment.
Is it favorable? Is it favorable economically, or is it favorable because of the narrative around it?
It's the equivalent.
No, but is it the narrative around it?
I think it's both.
Because the thing, well,
no,
because
it's the equivalent of a triple halving in terms of supply reduction. So it's the equivalent of 3 halvings happening in 1 year. Like 90% of the daily selling pressure from inflation is removed from mining.
Of course, but Ethereum is meant to be spent and used, and does it flip the script in terms of narrative that says, "Oh, we should be holding on to this. We should not be spending it"? Is that like, is it more narrative or is it more economics?
I think that'll be the test of Ethereum, though. Is what do people stop transacting in Ethereum because Ethereum has some kind of markup that makes you decide not to transact so much. But currently,
how is all the wrapped Bitcoin going to get moved around? Because all of the Bitcoin are going to get put onto Ethereum, right? So if you can't use Ethereum, how are you going to use your Bitcoin?
That's up to you,
the
man.
thing is,
Brad
the thing
decided.
is, right,
I think people need some context here. Brad decided he's going to argue for Ethereum in this podcast. So if he's saying weird shit, that's why. Other times he's saying weird shit for other reasons. This time it's because he decided to argue for Ethereum. I think. I mean the cool thing about, like, sure, you can make like short-term decisions that could make you more money, but I think that there are concrete examples of how the frequent monetary changes in Ethereum can hurt holders. So like, what people often say is, well, it's true that Ethereum changes its monetary policy, but it's strictly in favor of holders, so it's fine. And that's just not true, because the thing is, when you can change the monetary policy around, then some people are going to benefit from that change and some people are not. And for example, people who didn't benefit from that change, like if Ethereum had any sense, then 1559 would have happened like 3 years ago. It's an obvious thing that should have happened way before it's happening. And other cryptocurrencies did that before. There's just no reason. Like the fundamentals of Ether before that are extremely bad. Why would... For Ether itself, not Ethereum, for Ether, the currency are pretty bad.
Basically. Yeah, tokenomics is fine, yeah.
So they were really bad for like 5 years. And if you were like an Ether holder that bought Ether, let's say in pre-sale, and you've been holding it for a while, then you could easily, find yourself selling too early because you're like, well, it looks like it's going to be stuck with this very bad narrative of Ether has nothing to do with the protocol. And the way it seems right now is that people are, there are a bunch of new big holders in Ethereum in the last like year. And I think that probably had some influence on the direction of things like 1559. And that's great for them because they got to buy ETH from basically people who capitulated from the pre-sale because they thought it was never going to happen.
And also the
Stratum team. What I'm saying is, I guess. So I guess what I'm saying with that is like, it's fine. Like if what you're looking for is to, in this kind of way, like profit off of changes in the monetary supply, then that's great for you. But if what you're looking for is a long-term store of value, then that's just not ETH, because you know that people are going to play these games with Ethereum. And because for some of them, it's going to be profitable. So they're going to.
I think it's a good point about the certainty of the Bitcoin formula for monetary policy, the long-term tenure, the lack of political capital or willpower to make monetary changes to Bitcoin. In terms of what you said, Udi, about like what Ether's mandate is, or does the fact that it doesn't have a mandate. Kind of it does, because it does by consensus, but it's not as strict as, say, like a company or a security, where if they're a public company, they do have a mandate to look out for the interests of their shareholders. That doesn't really exist. It's, if anything, it's the consensus and the security and the operability of the network. That doesn't mean that there's any mandate or anything for like forcing the number to go up, you know? But if like,
Sure.
If working on the strength of the protocol and improving the monetary policy helps improve things like the security mechanisms for how the protocol works long term, then it still kind of accomplishes some of the same goals.
Yeah, which wasn't the case a year ago. Like a year ago, but it could, after 1559, it could. And then the question that remains is, in my opinion, like, are people going to? Is this the smart contract platform that's going to win? Because if it's not, then currency is going to have a problem. But I guess that's favorable. That's preferable to just have a free float currency that's not, not related to anything. So I guess 1559 at least fixes that. But yeah, go ahead.
Prior to 1559, my take was generally like, I already do this, but like, I want to know how's my portfolio relative to USD, relative to BTC, and make sure both of those numbers are going up. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time and should stack sats, right? And with the change to Ethereum, like, I went from thinking, generally, if Bitcoin's gold, Ethereum is oil. But like oil goes in these, oil goes in these ranges over a long period of time.
Bro, don't say that shit. Oil went negative not long ago. Oil was like minus 500.
That's what I'm talking about. Ethereum is oil. Oil futures.
But if this new monetary policy works, if it sticks, if it truly creates some kind of subtle deflationary curve, I think that massively improves the potential for Ethereum being a store of value on top of being a decentralized compute network with massive network effects that are very, very important in this landscape. And that makes me willing to denominate in ETH until that narrative's proven wrong.
What I've taken from this stream so far is that Ood is actually a god tier altcoin trader, made most of his money from alts, and he's just stacking sats via like altcoin trading. Look how he knows everything that's going on. He's super plugged in. He's the third biggest holder of BNB. Like he's known it. His only bad call was Tron.
Oh, Tron! I thought. Well, first of all, I'm very poor. I'm not god tier or anything. But Tron, I thought so. That's the funny thing. In 20, I think it was 2019, Peter, right? The whole Tron thing was going on. I thought a Tron was going to be the BSC.
Look at you because you did the video with him, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, you did the thing in
buy my shitcoin.
You weren't in the video, Woody.
I weren't in the video, but it was it was around that time that I just couldn't stop talking about Tron.
Do you know what the funny thing about that video is, right? Is that the amount of accusations that have come out about what happened with that video. People are like, you got him drunk, he doesn't speak English, you're a racist.
Oh, really?
And it was like, no. What happened was he wasn't drinking at all. I was sat there with Rodolfo, and he came over. He understood exactly what we were saying. I was like, and I said, can we make a video of you asking to buy your shitcoin and can I put it up on Twitter? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. He knew exactly what was going on, and we did it. And to be honest, I actually think it's probably made him more money anyway.
I think it's improved his reputation.
But all these kind of accusations from people like they were there. It's almost like they were there thinking they could say, "Oh, I saw you get him drunk." It's like, no, he fucking did it of his own free will.
Cobie brought up the point in the Uncommon Core podcast, which everybody should listen to. Shout out uncommoncore.co, I think, talking about Ethereum and how with these Ethereum gas fees, everybody moved to BSC. Like, basically, how bad did TRX shit the bed to not take any of that activity?
Yeah. They had it on a silver platter.
So that was what I was so sure of in 2020 or 2019, whatever it was, that this was going to be it because they had
momentum.
No, it was
with USDT. They had $2 billion of USDT going over.
So that
was all
so that was
Justin's.
so. No, that's not true. Look at USDT volume now. It's half of it is on Tron.
It's a lot still.
It's not all Justin's.
But that's
I don't
like,
think nobody expected the DeFi summer to happen. That was the black swan. Like the liquidity mining meme blowing up crypto Twitter and making all the whales go deposit their...
Justin Sun's whole thing is the control C, control V, and copy paste everything. And he should have been very fast in doing that, and he just shit the bed. It was really bad. CZ did that beautifully with BNB, masterfully.
What was that old blockchain?
And Tron had it all ready.
What was that old blockchain that Tether used to be on that started with an O?
OmniLayer.
Omni? That was Bitcoin. That was Bitcoin. Yeah. That was really bad. That was
Mastercoin, originally.
Yeah, but
that was Mastercoin.
That wasn't Tether being on OmniLayer wasn't bullish for OmniLayer. It didn't do anything.
That's the big argument that I always have with people that tell me that, look at all the stablecoin volume that's happening on Ethereum, and thus that means Ethereum has utility value as the next layer of settlement for the future of open finance networks, and it's Bitcoin is just sitting there like a boomer rock, not doing anything. It doesn't have any utility. You can't earn any APY. For 5 years when Bitcoin had all the volume with Tether, we didn't measure stablecoin volume and try to ascribe value to Bitcoin through look at all the Tether volume that's happening on top of Bitcoin. So it was only when Tether decided to move off of Bitcoin that became part of the valuation calculations for altcoins, because BitShares had tons of volume as well for years with stable coins, and probably a lot of it was fake. But I still don't think that any of this volume that's happening on Uniswap and any of the real WBTC that's locked up in all these farms and lending protocols and any of the stablecoin transactions ascribe any or accrue any value to the base layer token.
They haven't before, no. I agree with that until now, but 1559, the purpose is to mobilize that on-chain activity into economic value for.
But that's just an inefficient blockchain that's poorly designed. It's just like hacking
network effects. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin's an inefficient blockchain that can approve one transaction every 10 minutes or something. It's like it's just
but that's
so
what the whole war was about in 2017. We decided we were going to scale in layers. And it was the original mission of Bitcoin to sort of bootstrap as a currency, as a world reserve currency with store value before taking on Visa and buying coffee and stuff.
The original vision doesn't matter. I think, there's definitely use. People are using those DeFi apps now. There's no doubt about it. Whether or not Bitcoin's
people,
original
come on,
vision.
It's not people.
Yeah. No, it's people.
It's Cobie and all of his bot friends.
No,
none of
it's
these
not true.
None of these people in the Twitch chat are real. I know it. They're all fake.
Okay. So the
Udi chat says you look cute when you smile.
So mad.
Udi chat says you look cute when you smile.
So I'll stop smiling. Thank you, chat. Here's the thing. On Ethereum, you get those use cases that are very they don't have any moat, I would say. And the first one was USDT. USDT is not going to stay on Ethereum. When I said that 2 years ago, everyone made fun of me.
You don't think Ethereum has a moat?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
I think EIP
Bitcoin has a moat.
I think EIP 1559 is an attempt to establish that. I think one of the interesting things about EIP 1559, I think it's a clear policy direction which is trying to replicate what has created long-term success and is the meme for Bitcoin around scarcity. The long-term meme for Bitcoin is the economics 101, supply and demand. It's 21 million long-term scarcity. I think EIP 1559 tries to replicate that, but one of the problems with that, I think it feels like that's therefore in conflict with what Ethereum is meant to be, which is a protocol of smart contracts, where Bitcoin, you're not meant to do anything with it, and then occasionally you sell a bit or move a bit, but you're basically not meant to do anything with it. And Ethereum, you're meant to do stuff with it, but they're making a change that basically competes with Bitcoin's. So it's now you're not meant to do anything with ETH.
Whoa. But that's a revisionist version of Bitcoin too, right? I mean, it's peer-to-peer digital cash in the white paper.
Yeah, but like
the white paper did say you're supposed to buy Bitcoin and put it into grayscale.
yeah, but like Bitcoin.
The original vision doesn't matter. Why does that matter?
Yeah,
Like,
Bitcoin
I
found
think
its
what
way with
matters
that.
is what they are.
Well, because
Bitcoin
there's a lot of dumb people out there that think that the Bitcoin is failing because it's not allowing you to scale at Visa levels on the base layer. There's so many millions of people coming
more
in now.
More chipsets
Right.
for you.
Yeah,
then.
they can
but
think
I'm saying it's
that.
a transition. It's a transition over time where like it became obvious like Bitcoin layer 1 doesn't scale. We're certainly not going to change layer 1, and like I said earlier, for the right reasons. But it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do anything with Bitcoin. There's still a inherent utility that Bitcoin should have in the long term. Transactability on Lightning.
Yeah, liquidity farming, Ponzi coins.
No,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be those things. It's I think what Strike is doing, like what Jack Mallers has built for people to go directly from their paycheck to Bitcoin and having it on a spendable, transactable layer 2 with Lightning is a fantastic Bitcoin use case, and that utility needs to be important going forward. Like I think Bitcoin needs to be transactable mobile phone to mobile phone, and have that settlement back to layer 1, or I think it'll peak at being like some kind of gold replacement. And I think Bitcoin could be bigger than that, but Bitcoiners have to continue to commit to transactability, scalability, like seamless use cases so that people can replace fiat as they choose to because their fiat currencies are dog shit. And I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum have similar moats for these use cases, but Bitcoin has to be more than just to like put it in the cold storage and leave it there forever, or it'll just end up gold and the game's over.
Yeah,
I think if Bitcoin ends up replacing gold, I'll be very happy.
Of course you will as an
not-
early adopter, but Bitcoin itself will like.
That's still a 10x from here, though, Ledger. What do you mean?
But that's just your investment thesis. That's not the role of Bitcoin in society. If like you're going to be a maximalist,
a currency has to become
It's a
store
pretty
of
important
value
role.
before it becomes a method of exchange or a unit of account.
it's already a store of value, but it has
not
to.
globally. It's like 1% of the world or something has Bitcoin allocation.
It's got how many years has it been, Peter? 10 years, 12 years of the same monetary policy. It has established itself as a store of value, but it can lose if it is not a proper medium of exchange, and that
Lose to what?
Yeah, but Ethereum is not a medium of exchange.
hold on.
Ethereum
Can I,
is
Brad, can I just jump in a second?
for stable coins? Go ahead, Peter.
think-
You were trying to make a point earlier.
I think Ledger's asking some fair questions. What do you mean by lose, Ledger? It can lose if it.
momentum more than anything. Like, I think, can Bitcoin replace gold no matter what? Sure. Like anybody under 40 would rather, the equivalent amount of Bitcoin than say a pound of gold or whatever.
That's a dunk on Peter. Come on, you just turned 40. Can't say things like that.
Sorry. Anybody 40 or under, less than or equal to. But like, I think that is, that's not ambitious enough in the long term because
okay. Look, but Bitcoin already is a medium of exchange if you want it to be. Okay, it already is. I can send you Bitcoin right now. You can send me your address and I can send you it. If I go into I have a spreadsheet here. I'm not making this up. I keep a record of all my transactions as well.
yeah, but like I'll have to tell
just
you.
bear with me. Bear with me. Like in April alone, 1, 2, 3. So I've already done 4 transactions in April, like buying things. Right. It is a medium exchange if you want it to be. There's nothing stopping it being a medium exchange if you want it to be. That exists. I can send you Bitcoin immediately right now, and it's far easier to do that than use the banks. So it exists as a medium exchange. It works as a medium exchange. It's whether you want to use it as a medium exchange. Right now, you want to use it as a store of value. Most people don't want to spend it because its store of value properties is not only does it store value, it stores and increases value. So that's the narrative right now. Yeah, that's the narrative that people are following. So it's not failing. It's actually succeeding in selling that. And that you've got the network effect of storing value. When Elon Musk buys 1.5 billion of Bitcoin and he suddenly selling 4 billion, that store of value narrative plus it's not just store of value, but increasing value works. So I don't see Bitcoin failing. I don't know what argument you have for failure there.
No, I'm not. I think it has a chance to be significantly more important. Ben Hunt, Epsilon Theory, has some interesting blog posts on this. Of like
the one today. Do you know about the one today where Bitcoin is off?
I didn't read the one today.
Fucking terrible. Basically the problem with that article is he went in and said I was in there and it was a pro and con Bitcoin discussion, but there was nobody on the pro side of Bitcoin. So basically you had a room full of Bitcoin haters. Bullshit article. Absolute no fucking meaning. And then your conclusion is Bitcoin is art. Fuck off.
But from like a year ago or something, he essentially talked about how Bitcoin's potential could essentially cap off at store of value when Bitcoin is revolutionary enough and has the potential to like continue to expound its network effects, building into our daily lives. And I think right now, okay, you have a budget in life. Let's say someone's budget's $5,000 a month is what they need. That's like this rotation from earnings to fiat, and then if they have extra, they stack sats with it, and that goes to their store of value. You can still spend the same relatively conservative life, $5,000 a month, whatever, as your like budget. But if you build the tools to do that directly through Bitcoin and you're spending your sats, the transactabilities and sats, Bitcoin can take the unbanked narrative, debank, whatever the podcast is, bankless narrative or whatever. Bitcoin can offer that similar narrative, and it's missing the opportunity. And ETH is the one stepping in. And
you're just not paying attention.
Well, yeah. Listen, Ledger. Sorry, just before you step in, Brad, I want to say one other thing. Bitcoin doesn't actually itself have a narrative, and Bitcoin itself doesn't itself prescribe to be a store of value. What Bitcoin does, it does very few things, and it has to do one thing really, is every 10 minutes or so it has to produce a block. Okay, that's all it has to do. It has to produce a block every 10 minutes, and anyone has to be able to load transactions into that block and push wealth wherever they want to do it. That's all it has to do. The store of value itself is a narrative which drives Bitcoin forward, but the narrative could be censorship resistance. The narrative can be whatever you want, but for different people it holds value. For different people they send value. For different people they avoid capital controls. For different people they have a bank account because they live in Afghanistan and their husband won't let them store money. Like, the narratives are huge and wide. But Bitcoin itself, let's be very clear, it has to do one job, and that's produce a block every 10 minutes.
And that's fine.
And allow people to make money.
That's fine.
That's all it does.
Bitcoiners, therefore, pick up the mantle and go and produce the narrative for more. And in my opinion, many Bitcoiners have gotten lazy adopting it just needs to produce a block and not like taking the next step. That's why I really respect, for instance, like what Jack's built with Strike, because that is integrating Bitcoin into people's daily lives, their ability to pull it out of their paycheck, use it, put it on a great user experience, that kind of stuff. I think that is extremely cool. And I'd love to see that happen more, because I think Bitcoin has, like, I've always thought like Bitcoin taking over world currency, yada, yada, is a meme, but there's a hook there where that could be extraordinarily powerful, but I think many Bitcoiners have gotten lazy.
Dude, Jack Mallers is an amazing guy and he's doing amazing things, but the lazy Bitcoiners have successfully turned Bitcoin this year into a store of value that billionaires are talking about. They successfully convinced Elon Musk to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin. That's what the lazy Bitcoiners did just this year. So I would say that's a pretty big achievement for the lazy Bitcoiners. And it's possible that in the future, the narrative would have to change. And, it might. And it would probably happen by replacing, getting a new set of lazy Bitcoiners. That's usually what happens.
Ledger, you hold Bitcoin.
But that's fine. This is the narrative that works now.
Hold on a second.
I just realized.
And that's why Ethereum tries to copy it.
I just realized everyone else on the call takes this thing seriously. I've just realized. Chat, I'm going to pause my video and go get another drink while they keep arguing.
Are you drinking apple juice, by the way?
It's cider, mate.
It's coffee, mate.
I thought it was apple juice. Ledger, you hold Bitcoin, right?
Sure.
What is your Bitcoin not doing for you right now that you want it to do? Is it not making you enough money?
It's not going up.
It's not going up enough, or is it not easy
down,
enough to spend it? Because that's the two things I think. Is it making me enough profit, or am I not able to spend it? Like, what's it not doing for you that you want it to do?
Plenty of things.
Give me an example.
Oh gosh. So if I could, I would hold my short-term savings in Bitcoin and have a much freer flow from like Bitcoin to the dollars that I spend, because I do agree that like generally I'm more willing to have money in Bitcoin than like some altcoin, because I need this relative stability in my life, and I want to be able to have quicker transactability from that Bitcoin to my daily purchases, which is impossible in layer 1 land. And
so do you think you want changes to layer 1?
No. I'm saying I want the ecosystem around layer 2 to do better, go faster, and work. Whereas I've tried this, and it's like, hey man, your liquidity channels or some shit. Like you can't send or you can't receive, or I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I couldn't use, like, I tried Breeze, I tried these different things. It was too hard. It was like,
so what's more important? Because this is something that I think is myself is important. What's more important? They quickly solve Ledger's problems, or they build the right infrastructure for the next 100 years.
That's fine. I'm having a hard time seeing that occurring while the Ethereum landscape, the very clear adoption of not only decentralized finance on layer 1, which has plenty of problems, don't get me wrong, but then the adoption of layer 2 on Ethereum, it's going faster than Lightning. Is it got the same like solid infrastructure?
It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
it's not the same. Like,
and
here's the
doesn't
reason
have the same foundation.
It has many of the same outcomes.
Doesn't have the same foundation.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have any of the same outcomes. It's not. You're not using Ethereum layer 2 in order to make payments. No one is. There's 0 people who are using layer 2 Ethereum to make payments. People are using Ethereum layer 2. Well, not a lot of people are using it right now, but let's say something like Polygon. People are using that to, to use DeFi apps, not to do payments.
Infinity.
So it seems like there's just not demand for those payment systems. No, payment systems exist. Like you can use. It's true that those Lightning wallets could be better, but I think that the reason they're not much better is because there's not enough user interest. So there are not many resources been poured into making them better.
I think there is, but centralized versions of
the demand isn't
taking over. You can get, shout out Blockfolio. You can get an FTX debit card to hook up directly to your FTX account.
True.
But that's just integrating the legacy system to a centralized system. Are we winning? Kind of.
But it seems like this is what people want.
You can keep your money in crypto, but like you're not banklessing yourself.
I don't know who wants to be bankless for doing payments. I don't know this person. Apparently, they don't exist. This is just a situation. I thought it was cool.
I think they do want to be bankless. I think people do want to be bankless if then they can make use of their money. I've given this example many times. 15 years old or whatever, and you get your first job, and I put $100 in the savings account that they give you for free in addition to your checking account. 10 years after that, merging accounts with my wife, and I withdrew $100.09. So in reward for putting $100 into account, I got 9 cents of interest after 10 years. That should have been $200 at 7% per year. And the difference of banklessing yourself is having access to that 7% or some type of additional yield of putting your dollars to use in a decentralized ecosystem.
But it's not payments.
But it is. But
it's not payments.
It's not sustainable either. It's
7% yield is sustainable.
Ledger. Listen, okay, we're in a market.
Wait, Brad. I don't know if it's sustainable or not. It might be. But I just think it's a different thing. It's not payments. Like Lightning isn't doing that. You're like saying, like, people are sitting around saying, well, Lightning failed. I really don't think it failed. It just doesn't have the demand.
Lightning has 10,000 full nodes, and they're not incentivized. The big difference between Lightning Network as a layer 2 is kind of what you're saying, Udi, where it's a focused payments network where the people that are participating in that network are doing it altruistically because they want to see peer-to-peer cash. They want to see Bitcoin scale out on the second layer, and they're not getting dropped Ponzi coin food shit tokens for incentivized liquidity. That's the big difference between why adoption is picked up on Ethereum layer 2 and why it's trailing on Lightning Network, because it's all the actual growth on Lightning Network is real altruistic, unincentivized growth. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of people that have kind of come on to layer 1 Ethereum DeFi, but the significant majority of the volume that's happening there, it's like you guys wouldn't be there. The only reason you guys are there is because you're liquidity mining shitcoins and dumping them for more gains. It's not like a natural sustainable thing. Once this market reaches saturation, it's the interest rates are going to trend back towards what you can get at the bank.
I said 7% interest.
That's too high. Like once there's if this is the future of finance and all of finance is going to move on to these layers, there's nobody going to be paying you 7% for lending your money.
Dude, banks are
Brad, what you're doing now,
it'll be like 1%.
That's just pure maximalism.
Like 1%.
That's just pure maximalism.
Oh, but it's the truth.
I don't know if it's true.
We're talking about long term, right?
I don't know the future. Maybe not. I don't know. It's possible that in a year from now, 7% is still going to be.
But you guys got to think
it's fundamentally.
A
lot more will be.
Why is there a 15% interest on Aave or Yearn or Compound?
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is
it does matter.
Early adopter and smart contract
No,
risk is what's paying that interest. That's
no, you're getting shitcoin tokens that are illegal securities that the regulators are going to come down on, and you're going to see that this is not DeFi. This actually.
All right, Brad.
Okay, so Brad.
Hold on. Let's get back to the freaking bank, okay? Let's say you've got $1,000 in your checking account, okay? The average person.
Imagine you earn stock in the bank for having your $1,000
Don't
there.
make me,
Brad,
don't make
Brad,
me.
please.
The ownership economy. That seems like actually a good idea.
Cobie, I think you broke your mic when you whispered into it. It's kind of messed up now.
Is it weird?
That's
okay.
better.
If you have $1,000, go ahead, Cobie.
One sec. If you earned part of the bank for using their services, I think that's a good idea. I think that's the ownership economy. I don't think that is a bad thing because you got wrecked farming like chicken tenders token or whatever. But like, I think that people should own a piece of like the economies that they make sustainable by participating in them. So like as a bank, you provide, use all their services and they give you nothing. They rip you off, charge you fees, and like a bank's business model is to hook you as a student with free student debt in order to sell you services for the rest of your life. Like, come here, you have an overdraft or a credit card, you pay 0% while you're at university and you have no money, and then for the rest of your life, I'm going to sell you a mortgage, insurance, like loans, credit cards, whatever. I think a much better system would be a bank that you gained ownership of by interacting with and making them profitable. I think that is a far sustainable version of the world that by participating in a system, you gain ownership of the system and you therefore benefit from your participation, rather than everything funneling upwards to the CEO of a bank who's getting paid $500 million a year to like fucking change interest rates downwards and rip people off further in order to keep profit margins good. So I don't think just like farming ownership in a protocol or a company or a whatever is necessarily a Ponzi scheme. Of course, an APY of 11 million% is a marketing scheme in order to have people lock up TVL to make your protocol look legitimate. But really what they're doing is they're just trying to take the fucking shit and sell it. I agree with that. But a lot of the more moderate sustainable yields are just like borrowing demand, basically.
Yeah.
Well, the ones that have natural fundamental market dynamics make sense. Where if I'm going to collateralize my ETH or BTC or not stablecoin and get back stablecoins, and I'm willing to pay 8 to 10 to 12% to do that because I'm doing leverage trading or options trading on the side, or doing DYDX shorts or whatever, trying to trade. I'm actually doing something fundamental, and I'm willing to pay for that service.
So
that
what
makes
are you angry
sense.
about?
But think of the counter. I want to get back to this example because in that I've had checking accounts before where unless you held like $25,000 or more or something, they'd charge you say $7 a month just to hold a checking account, right? If that person is carrying $1,000 free cash flow on an average basis, that $7 a month ends up being 8% that you, as the user of the bank, keeping $1,000 in the bank that they then go use to achieve yield, you're paying 8% for the privilege. versus getting paid, say 5, 6, 7%, 3%. I don't give a shit, Brad. I'm not paying 8%. The bankless promise is that you are participating in an ecosystem that's a decentralized protocol, and you're taking the profits that go to bankers, that go to the centralized entities, and you're distributing those to the users of the protocols, and it's a better system in the end, and you're actually putting that money to work. And then, in my example earlier of what happens over 10 years, you double your money in that period of time, which is a far more productive thing than paying 8% per year on that
But
same
Ledger,
money.
this has nothing to do with Lightning. This has nothing to do with Lightning.
Ledger's wife is in the next room being like, oh, he hasn't been this riled up since our honeymoon. Can't wait for the stream to end.
Can't wait for the stream to put the dog to sleep.
This has nothing to do with Lightning. You started Ledger. You brought this up as why Lightning isn't working. It's not like this has nothing to do with Lightning.
It has to do with.
I have a debate. Like
Brad, please let him speak. Please.
I know, but we're going back to Lightning.
No.
And I think this conversation.
I will wrap it up here. Okay, it comes back to offering these decentralized finance services, which a Bitcoiner or an Ethereum person, a crypto person, someone that understands the principles of decentralized cryptocurrency assets should be able to appreciate decentralized finance, this promise that we talked about. For it to really work, it needs to work in the future globally on your phone and be fast, easy, simple. Good
okay,
user
but the big thing is you don't need any tokens to make the technology work. You can have a decentralized lending platform work perfectly fine, where there's transaction fees and protocol fees.
Brad, you're making us look bad.
Like what Uniswap was. Like Uniswap was actually an interesting piece of technology on Ethereum before they added the token. It didn't need the token. So Cobie,
the issue isn't having a token. The issue isn't having a token.
Okay, but I'm talking about
have a token if you want.
Fundamental value. Somebody buying the Uniswap token today because they buy this narrative that we should be bankless and you should own the network through the representation of the Uni token. They're buying it at this extremely high valuation. They're going to get absolutely wrecked when this bubble pops, and they're going to lose 95% of the money they have in Uniswap.
I don't know. People
because
told
the
me
technology works without the token. The technology works without the token. That's the fundamental thing that this all comes back to.
So here's I think here's the problem. Here's the problem with this, and we call this decentralized finance. I think some of those apps are cool, okay, but I think we call those decentralized finance. They're not decentralized. Like technically, they're just not.
Sure.
They use Ethereum, which you could arguably claim that Ethereum is decentralized, but the apps themselves are not. And there's no issue with that either. That's fine. I mean, I don't take offense to people calling something decentralized if it's not. That's fine. If it's making you money, good for you.
It's risk though, because people don't realize it's not
I don't care about.
Can I just make a point?
Just a moment.
My point's the most important point.
The thing is,
hold on, Peter. Peter, let Udi finish. But then the chat really, really wants to know what you're up to there, what game you're playing, who you're shit talking.
I'm texting Luke Martin.
He's like, give me. Solana. Should I buy Solana?
Luke was like, tell them about Solana. I was like, I've already fucking told them.
Yeah.
and now he's trying to show me.
The thing is,
he's trying to show me his bot. Yeah, my bot is the best.
My bot, Coinus bot. Shout out. All right, Udi, what were you finishing with there?
It's totally fine that it's not decentralized. It's totally fine that it has tokens. Everything's fine. The thing is, if it's not decentralized, then why would you pay long term? Why would you pay the costs of using a decentralized platform to use it? If the decentralization is here. And I think that's what's going to happen to these apps. They're not going to stay on the pretend pseudo decentralized networks. They're going to move to fully centralized things. And that's the reason, like when you ask, why is Bitcoin not trying to compete with that? The reason is that Bitcoin cannot win that. There's no way that Bitcoin can win that because long-term, it cannot compete with centralized platform. We'll just do the same. You don't need to be decentralized in order to do liquidity mining. Actually, liquidity mining started in Asian exchanges in 2018. You don't need DeFi for that.
Why do you think DeFi apps are going to move towards centralized entities?
They already are, and the reason for why
No,
is
I know,
because
but
the
why are they going to
Ethereum-
go further into that? My baseline understanding would be that they're going to move more towards decentralized entities, whether it's a DAO or
because
whatever.
because it's inefficient. Because it's inefficient. Just because it's inefficient. I
Well,
mean,
and because of the regulations that are going to be enforced on these people, it's VCs backing companies building software that then pump tokens out. It's not decentralized.
Betting on regulators fighting against those projects has been a bad bet so far.
I don't know, man. Look at the
I thought-
FATF guidelines that recently came out. That's really bad for anything that touches stablecoins. Uniswap, especially companies like Uniswap.
Somebody
It
and
didn't
all
stop
this
Uniswap.
Yeah,
It's gonna eventually. I think it's gonna challenge the idea
Maybe.
that this stuff is decentralized within the next
I think
year.
I think the decentralization of brand new like apps or protocols or whatever is a bit of like a red herring debate, because everything is a gradient of decentralization, right? Like when something is launched, there is of course zero argument that this thing is decentralized. Like a group of centralized actors, a coordinated group, have to work together in order to put something into the world. At the very genesis moment, it's maybe one person's idea alone in their like bedroom in their pants and their with their sunglasses on, Udi, and like it starts there, and as time goes on, these things hopefully progressively decentralize in some way. At the beginning, often like what you're launching is risky, it's unproven. To be completely decentralized on like day 0, day 1 to, even maybe day 100 is irresponsible rather than like a benefit. However, if you're still not decentralized on day 1000 or day 3000, then of course you've got a problem. Like this is just an inefficient way to use a centralized system. And so much of DeFi is relatively new. Like if you look at the top 10 of DeFi, maybe like 4 or 5 of the things feel truly decentralized. I disagree on Uniswap. I think Uni is like, at least Sushi, it seems pretty decentralized. And
they just released, they're going to release V3 with a business license attached to it. How is that decentralized?
Yeah, but I mean, like they can release proprietary code. Go on, sorry.
When the regulators want to come and haul someone into Congress to give a talk about why they're allowing AML, KYC, non-compliant transactions, then you can
stop using it.
They're going to haul Hayden Adams or whatever his name is into Congress.
That's not a reason not to use it now. That's not a reason not to use it.
No, but
now,
it's the technology. I keep saying this. The technology is different than the token price and the token. The token is bolted on. It's not actually a governance like token. It's not like the Uniswap.
It is for some of them.
Not really.
It is for some, yeah.
Like
it definitely
2% of them actually have governance votes that have more than 5% of the token holders voting.
I will say this.
MakerDAO is probably the most voted on one, and that's because Andreessen Horowitz and those VCs own a lot of it.
Well, Andreessen Horowitz is by far the worst VCs.
Well,
the decentralization
lots
thing
of money.
is you can start out with being decentralized or not being decentralized. It's true. You cannot, even Bitcoin didn't start as decentralized on day 1. This is true, but I don't think that it matters because I'm just not convinced that people are looking for that decentralization. That's the thing. Like you can say, oh, they'll be decentralized in 2 years.
Right.
I'm not saying they won't. I'm saying that people don't care.
I think people don't care either.
So why would they pay? That's the question.
Because
why would they pay for the Ethereum inefficiencies if they could use Binance Smart Chain or Tron, or more realistically, the Aave blockchain of the future, and just have a blockchain for each app and use those, which will be faster, cheaper, and whatever. Why not? Like, why would they pay?
Why not just like why not
Ether
have
holders?
Why not have Bitcoin on like a Google Doc as well? Like, are you just going to update my
Because you can't.
7?
Because you can't.
Until this stuff actually gets challenged.
That's the difference. If you do that, then Bitcoin gets shut down. But with Aave, Aave isn't being shut down. Aave exists. We can see that it wasn't shut down. So what's the question?
Well, neither was Bitcoin.
Regulators tried to attack Bitcoin.
I'm not using Bitcoin of 2009. I'm using Bitcoin of today. Like Bitcoin investors today are looking at it as it is today.
Well, Bitcoin in 2009 was also not shut down, was it?
I'm not saying it will. I think it won't. That's my point. I don't think it will be shut down. I don't think that Aave is going to be shut down. I don't think that Uniswap is going to be shut down. And because I don't think that
if they don't comply
just
with the
gonna
regulations,
optimize.
they have the risk of being shut down. That's the risk, the financial risk. So all these people that are investing in all these Uniswap DeFi coins, thinking this is decentralized finance, they're going to disrupt Wall Street, disrupt the regulators.
Dude, Ripple was like the biggest
Don't be
scam
angry,
ever, and like they're getting a slap on the wrist at best.
Why do you think that?
Yep,
Why do you think they're going to get a slap on the wrist?
They might.
Can we someone in chat just says, "Can we see Peter's car instead of this?"
Okay, I'll stop. I'm done.
I mean, I did have a point.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
hear
go,
your
Peter,
point.
Peter, hit us. I want to hear.
I came on this show for some fun. It's fucking boring. We're actually debating crypto.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
yeah,
any of us give a shit about anything beyond making money. Like, let's be honest. Like, and it's like, I don't know. It's fucking.
Do you
boring.
think do you think that NFT artists have got it bad because like clearly the same is true for them, right? The NFT artists, sorry to too much lag and fuck render and all the like the NFT artists that are listening, but they also only give a shit about making money, right? That's why they're doing NFT.
Everyone does.
And
Apart from
but
the
they've
communists, everyone just gives a shit about making money. And why do we ever try and pretend it's anything other than that?
I don't agree with that, Peter. I think there's like
That's because
definitely
you're a socialist.
there's an
Because you're a
element.
socialist. You live in Canada and you give all your money to the government to give
Yeah, I
to
don't
everyone
need
else.
the money. I just get my monthly
Yeah, you give
stipend
it
of emergency food and hockey tape, and then
Are you a
I
prepper,
don't need
Brad?
money. I was when the freaking COVID videos came out of China, seeing people dropping in the streets and the army rolling in on welding people into their houses. I was like, I'm buying everything I can get.
So how much like spare rice do you have in your basement right now?
I got a lot of rice, a lot of freeze dried pineapples. I bought out a whole like I have a whole room now full of boxes of freaking emergency supplies. What a waste. You have to donate it to a homeless shelter. I'll have to donate to Udi.
Peter, here's my
Thank you.
Here's my counter.
Thank you.
You did a whole mini series on the Venezuelan crisis as an example, and for them, it's the preservation components of like their ability to live and get by. That was why they got into crypto. It was not about 100xing their bags. It was not 0xing their bags, basically, right? Like. These things do matter. We're just so freaking privileged that we're just trying to get rich. We're not trying to get by.
So the Venezuela thing's interesting. I mean, it wasn't so much a series. I went to Venezuela and made a film, right? I went out to see what it was like and try and make a film because Venezuela has always given us this perfect argument for Bitcoin. And it's like a mixed picture. So I went up to the border of Cucuta in Colombia, it's the border with Venezuela, where people cross over from Venezuela into Colombia to buy shit they just cannot get in Venezuela, all kinds of stuff. But a lot of people come there to work. So one of the examples of why cryptocurrency doesn't really work in that location is most people don't have a phone, or if they have a phone, they're sharing a phone. If they have a phone, they might have a contract or a data connection, so they can't really use crypto. So, I mean, there might be the odd person, but again, when you're in these situations where you're fighting for survival, you'll care about crypto if you can get some and then sell it to buy something. That's all you care about.
Buying power.
Yeah, but it's not even buying power. It's just like, I've got no money. I don't care what you can give me dollars, you can give me cigarettes, you can give me car tires, or you can give me Bitcoin. Whatever it is, I'm going to sell it so I have money to buy the shit I need for my family. These people are broke as fuck. They're living in a desperate situation. When you go into Venezuela, there's two stories. There's, I try to remember, I think it's East Caracas, which is like the middle class area, and then the rest of the country, which is fucked, which is pretty much owned and run by Maduro. East Caracas is slightly different. I'm pretty sure it's the East. And then if you go into like the slums, some of them have got the local crypto. There's basically 5 currencies. But in the end, when you're living on $5 a day, you don't give a fuck about Bitcoin. You can't afford Bitcoin. You can't afford to transact on Bitcoin. Again, you care about having as much money as you can to live day by day. The people Bitcoin is really good for in Venezuela are the people who are like middle upper class, because the Bolivar's so fucked. They hold Bitcoin, and then every week they transfer the Bitcoin they need into the Bolivar to survive and buy things. But even when Bitcoin crashes, in terms of the Bolivar, it still goes up. So they're always making money. It is genuinely up only in Venezuela.
Yeah, I agree with you that like the middle class is always going to be the ones to benefit from this debate. Like the rich generally understand how to maintain their riches and get richer. The middle class are seeking to level up, and the poor are always looking for the next meal. That's not just in Venezuela, even though like the poor in Birmingham, Alabama, they're better off by far than the poor in, rural Venezuela. But the debate is still the same. Like I still have friends who are like, look, my lights are getting turned off. That kind of, you know what I mean? Like that's all they care about. But at some point there are things that matter, and we are privileged here. Like the transactability of dollars is pretty good. Like there are parasites in the ecosystem. Like you go cash a check, you get charged 10% or something just to cash it like late at night, things like that. But like that's where there's this real disruptability, I think, in fully decentralized systems.
This is the era where I defend the Maxis and the maximalists. This is where the philosophical arguments come into play, because we're not really ever going to go onto an Ethereum standard. Let's be honest. Ethereum is just the way I see it. It's like Bitcoin is your safe in your house, and Ethereum is Vegas. And you choose to take different people take different amounts of money out of their safe to go to Vegas. Some people take a little bit out. Some people never go to Vegas. They're like, I'm not going to go and do that shit. That's fucked up. Some people they go and they take like just a very small amount, have some fun, and then total degens take it all out and go fuck it, YOLO, and that's what it is. But they all, like anyone with half a brain, goes back to Bitcoin in the end and puts their money back in their safe because of safety. We're never going to have an Ethereum standard. This planet isn't going to move to an Ethereum standard, whatever you think of it. Even the most ardent Ethereum supporters, they know we're not moving to an Ethereum standard. But there is a chance that actually certain countries might move onto a Bitcoin standard. They might go, actually, this is good for our country to hold as our reserve currency. And it might actually improve the lives of the people within that country to move to a kind of deflationary currency. And that's where I philosophically will support the Bitcoiners.
I actually agree with you in that. I just think that I think that is at risk still, right? And to Cobie's point earlier, I think that Ethereum in the near term, because of fundamental events, does look quite attractive relative to Bitcoin. And I think
but that's the trade. That's the trade ledger.
And the fundamental baseline, Ethereum's network has a massive lead on the DeFi front, like all these things that I've been talking about. But I think if you look at the developers, this is a really interesting way you look about signal and noise. I would say I've spent a lot of time with a lot of Bitcoin developers. They only ever care about building the best protocol possible to deliver what Bitcoin's meant to do, which is blocks every 10 minutes, censorship resistance, and maximum decentralization. They could promote ideas that essentially make their Bitcoin worth more money, but they don't. They genuinely at their core always promote the best possibilities for the protocol to last the test of time, be maximally decentralized, maintain censorship resistance, permissionless, trustless, all those things. I don't see the same in altcoin protocols. I think there's a bit more of a focus on building things or coding things in a way that make them more money. Perhaps it's the pre-mine. Perhaps because a lot of them get a part of the pre-mine and they want to maximize the value. I just think they have different trade-offs, and that's not to shit on them. Good luck to them. Go make a fucking load of money. That's great. But that's where I see that, like, you get this thing where a lot of people come and say, oh, you're a Maximus, so you're a Maxi pad, you're blah, blah, you don't get it. Like, there is a philosophical thing behind Bitcoin, which is about genuinely building the best money to improve the world. And you go down that rabbit hole and you discover it, and it is quite real. I don't think that exists within altcoins. I think they're more like companies. And that's no discredit. Like, do that, trade that shit, build that shit. But they're companies. They're building technology, where Bitcoin is trying to build something that does improve the lives of people and change the world. I think that's a very good point. I think there's some elements of the conversation between the cathedral and the bazaar that could be established there, where Bitcoin's the finished cathedral, but you're also like putting a gate around, and it's like you're not enabling the bazaar to build up outside. Whereas the Ethereum landscape is very clearly the bazaar, and like most of it's going to like fall to pieces, but there are parts of the bazaar that will thrive and also survive way longer than anyone ever thought possible. So that generations later, like this little corner of the bazaar, like was still wildly successful. and then innovation occurs there.
But that's like Vegas, right? Hotels come and go, strip clubs come and go, but Vegas is always there.
Yeah, I guess. I just think there's more than just Vegas. Like, I think Vegas is completely parasitical to society, and I think there's more than Vegas in the.
Have you been to Vegas?
No, I'm the person that doesn't want to go.
Okay, you're the person who doesn't fit into any part of my analogy.
He loves Ethereum, he loves DeFi, hates Vegas.
Yeah, he wants to blow his safe, but he doesn't want to go to Vegas. What do you do?
No,
you
because
go to
I think
do you go to Reno?
Vegas is designed to take wealth.
He goes to Atlantic City.
What are altcoins designed to do?
For a long time, I think that was all altcoins were designed to do. I think there are parts of the bazaar that are more productive assets, and there's regulatory threats here, but they act a lot more like securities, and securities are designed to benefit shareholders, and there could be this token value accrual, yada, yada, yada. There's a whole different debate, but there could be productive assets that are designed to enable wealth rather than to take it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's true as of basically early 2019, right? Like maybe late 2018, but it was all mixed in. 2017, it was just like musical chairs. Everything was dog shit. It was intended to like go up and then for the developers to leave rich. And like from 2019 onwards with Aava synthetics, etc., I think there was like a shift in paradigm for things that were referred to as altcoins. Whereas now, like in my head, I go like there's Bitcoin and ETH as like serious layer one solutions. There's like crypto asset DeFi stuff. There's altcoins, which is like speculative layer ones, and then the shitcoins, which is just like mostly on BSC that have no pretense of being like DeFi Summer, where it transitioned from people got super excited about the fact that you could get yield in like these serious projects, so they just started making tendies and stuff, and like has no pretense of being a genuine thing. It is just we've made this so that we can like hopefully get rich together before we all dump on each other. But I think the shitcoin portion of the market has decreased over time. Like the same way Bitcoin dominance has decreased, shitcoin dominance has also decreased because there's been an introduction of a middle new asset. Someone in chat said hot dog was a genuine product. What do you mean? Like, I didn't even know there was a hot dog. It probably wasn't genuine. So
do you not think, Cobie, then that like the cycle's going to not repeat? You think that now, you said it in a tweet a week ago that DeFi has crossed a chasm. I mean, I really don't think that there's enough users or enough time yet to see DeFi has crossed any chasm. I think there's serious regulatory risks on the horizon for all these DeFi
of
tokens.
course, I think that there are serious regulatory risks, but I think any of the major serious regulatory risks are hit to crypto in general. And I like want to make clear to anyone that's anyone that is listening, I believe as you go down the market caps on CoinGecko, you increase risk. So if you buy Bitcoin, it's the least risky. I also think you'll have the least reward from doing so. If you buy Ethereum, I think you increase risk, and I think you potentially increase your reward. As you go down towards the like page 2, I think this trend kind of continues, but like
Cobie,
whether
that's
or not
basically that like risk reward is basically totally related to liquidity, right?
Yeah, I think like
Pretty
liquidity,
much.
age of the project, and like potential upside and stuff. Like if you bought like Alchemix or whatever it was just after it was launched, you did pretty well relative to market.
Okay.
You bought Chili's. That thing went crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is,
Is
but
that a
I saw
coin?
that went crazy too.
Some sports fan token that went up like 100x.
See, Brad, you talk about like shitcoins, but you like go straight to page 15. Like,
No, that's page 1. It's page 1 now.
But, sorry,
That's
like,
what I'm
just-
saying. Like page 1 is full of shit right now. We're
Just
in a
to
bubble. So Cobie, what do you think's going to happen at the end of this cycle?
Yeah, so like as you increase risk, obviously, like in historic data suggests Bitcoin outperforms dog shit over the long term, because like most dog shit has gone to zero. Then there are some things that have crossed a chasm of like credibility where multi-cycle it has existed, and non-price metrics, including price metrics now, but non-price metrics like user adoption have gone up cycle to cycle. And for those things, they have now outperformed Bitcoin multi-cycle. Like the Bitcoin to ETH chart, which is the ETH to Bitcoin chart inverted, looks terrible for Bitcoin. But that's just because in the bull markets, ETH outperforms on the upside, and in bear markets, Bitcoin outperforms on the downside. And I think that's probably going to remain the case. Like the more risky stuff is more likely to outperform on the downside because it's more speculative. And for anything where there is absolutely no utility, when the music stops, I think it's going to zero. So like that, the utility of Doge is like a meme. So I'm net bearish on Doge, but I think it can still go to infinity because the meme is good. And anything where it's like safe moon and shit, I think that's all going to zero as Zeta Coin went to zero and as, everything else. But the thing that's interesting and novel is this is the first cycle where we have stuff with that like accrues yield to the protocol directly. So on one hand, you could say these things perform better in a bear market than historic altcoins have because they still earn fees and there is still some value, and you can like rationally price them versus the protocol fee. On the other hand, you can say they're going to underperform Bitcoin by even more in a bear market because the usage of these things is going to dry up. The yield they can offer by minting you a free token, like no one wants to liquidity mine if the token you're getting is constantly going down. Like when the token's going up, your APY is going up. When it's just dumping and it's a race to the bottom, like some of the DeFi protocols, I think, will just become house of cards where the bottom layer has been ripped out.
That yield.
Which are the ones that you don't think are going to be like for Cream Finance is a great example of one. I think that's just going to get totally wrecked in the bull market,
like,
in the bear market.
It's like not even it's maybe the third or fourth most popular borrowing and lending.
Yeah, it's like
protocol.
the degen version of Curve or Aave or something like that.
Yeah, but like Compound and Aave as blue chip products, tokenomics aside, are heads and shoulders above any of the other ones playing in that landscape. Maybe
because of the investors, not because of the users. There's only
because of the product.
There's only like 3,000 people that hold the Curve token, and there's maybe, if you look at all the people who've interacted with the smart contracts and look at the DeFi DApp radar numbers and stuff, there's nobody using this stuff. It's all whales using it. So what happens
I think
when this
Curve's
cycle tops?
I think Curve's a super interesting project, and the bear case for Curve is Uniswap v3. I think Maker is like a god tier project that's probably under-owned. Not financial advice. Please don't send me to jail. I'm way too pretty.
And Maker made like $40 per Maker annualized, or $80 per Maker annualized in protocol fees.
Yeah, and runs like a super important part of the infrastructure of like the ecosystem. So I think there are some projects that in a bear market might do way better than people expect, because everyone expects altcoins go to zero in a bear market, and 99% of altcoins will go to zero in a bear market. But additionally, in the last bear market from 2018 onwards, there were also a few altcoins that like basically had a bull market throughout the entire thing. Like Chainlink did well throughout the entire thing. I think Synthetics did well throughout the entire thing. Mostly
BNB did well.
Yeah, BNB's godlike. BNB's literally up only.
So something like that has protocol fees, right? That's kind of like a company. You can do like PE ratios on that. And if you did a PE ratio on something like Aave, it's like 100x or more PE ratio.
Yeah, but
so
like
how is that not going to get wrecked down to fundamental value?
Instagram wasn't valuable because they didn't have any revenue.
No, these things do generate revenue already, and you can see how much revenue they generate. Yeah, you can see they're way overvalued.
They do it with these barriers to entry that are absolutely absurd, and people are still using them. Imagine when the barriers to entry are purely like downloading an app on your mobile phone.
But I think Brad's got a good point, and it's the same point as the Coinbase equity play, right? Like people are not factoring in how cyclical the crypto markets are, and in a bull run, everyone gets super overexcited. All valuations balloon to like things that you can't even really bear to look at, and compared to like with a direct comparative to a non-crypto thing that earns a similar amount of money, way overvalued. And in the bear market, it's very likely that those volumes dry up and therefore they can underperform. Coinbase might have like the benefit of performing better than Bitcoin because it'll maybe have less retail holders or something. But like, who knows, to be honest.
The volume might stick around even during the bear market for a while, but generally there's greater that this is what you were talking about, like yields collapsing and some of these stuff. It's so correlated that creates that reflexivity as you move down. So Ethereum is more, is going to move more than Bitcoin. DeFi is going to move more than Ethereum. There's just natural reflexivity.
Exactly. Like I think a lot of these Maxi arguments, like I think that's why I mostly take them as a joke, and I like that Udi takes them as a joke. But part of Udi's joke is that he pretends that it's extremely serious and won't admit that it's a joke. Like, I think it's all like a bit of a joke because it boils down to, in a bull market, the stuff that takes less money to move upwards goes up more, right?
Yeah.
Like to add 50% to Bitcoin's market cap takes a humongous amount of money now because it's worth so much, and the stuff where your market cap is $2 million. Like I can pump that double with a single transaction if I want. So like in the bull market, when everything's frothy and there's a detachment of objective standards for truth and everything becomes entirely narrative driven and, like just the market is detached from reality. Of course, the stuff that is more speculative, newer, and more risky goes up more. And in the bear market, sure, Bitcoin overperforms on the downside because it's more stable, it's more trusted, it's more likely to be around for longer, and it didn't get so frothy. But like what kind of market are we in right now? Like, can anyone tell me if it's a bull market or not?
What do you mean? Of course.
But no one's disagreeing with that. No one's disagreeing with that, I think.
Well,
I don't
Brad
think,
Brad unfollowed me in December because I said that Ethereum was going to go up. At the
So so it was back to
Brad
what Peter
gets
said.
emotional.
It was about what Peter said about people being in this for just to make money. Like I'm triggered because I'm in this really for philosophical reasons because I think Bitcoin, but I think Bitcoin literally is a tool that can free billions of people from a prison of inflationary money, which is really bad.
So do you want to beat people into not wanting to make money?
I want people to
what
know.
Are you proposing?
I want people to be aware of the assets and what they are and the risks, and not to think that like Aave coin or latest DeFi coin like is the same as Bitcoin and provides the same thing. It triggers me when people say things like Bitcoin I think many of them know utility, blah blah blah. I don't think they do, man. Look at the chat, look at like clubhouse rooms, NFT clubhouse rooms. People seriously people seriously think these things have value because of things like transactions and liquidity.
Brad, you make me look right wing.
Look, I play around with this stuff too. I mean, I'm printing Bitcoins with this stuff. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying know what the hell it is you're doing.
I'm printing Bitcoins with an S on it.
Like 0.1 Bitcoins.
Okay, fractions of a Bitcoin's plural. Peter, I have a question. I have a question for you.
After you.
All right, so let's say we get to a point where you're like, well, this has been a pretty fun ride, like I've done a lot here. I've made a lot of money. Do you intend, as a general like investment in Bitcoin maximalist, do you intend to maintain like full exposure outside of living expenses because of the long-term bet, or do you have any desire to speculate and say like, I'm going to put some cash aside to buy a Bitcoin dip because I feel like cyclically we've gotten too hot or something like that? Will you ever do that type of speculation again?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. I'm fully exposed to Bitcoin right now, and that's worked out really well for me.
Right.
This last, let's say, 18 months, 12 to 18 months. But at some point, you want to live, you want to enjoy life. So I've got no problem spending or selling some Bitcoin to do that. I'm not. I bought dips all the way up until the point I had no money left to buy any dips. So I missed the last dip because I had nothing left. The previous one I took out a loan. But what I would love to do is know the top. If I knew the top, I don't think if I felt like there was a top, I don't think I'd sell all my Bitcoin. But I think I might go, okay, 25%.
Good hedge
feels like a top.
That's when you might make the choice of say like, I'm gonna buy a house or like pay my house off.
No, it's more like I might take 25% out and put that into cash. If it wasn't the top, then I won't buy back in. And if it was the top and we go into a bear market, I would just leave that money on the sidelines, where I think if we hit another bottom, I'd buy back in, and then I might like use a bit towards buying a house. But I mean, the way I look at it, I've got enough now where I've completely, like I always say that like life is a game. You want to get to the end, not broke. Can you do the things you want to do? And I'm kind of at that point where if I played it right carefully now, I can get to the end and not be broke. I can't buy a fucking plane or a country like Cobie, but I can football have an team. Okay football team. Well, you've got to do that. You should do that for me. But I can do okay, right? And I also, like, when Bitcoin is going about like Bitcoin being scarce, I always say time's scarce. You can, if you read that Four Agreements, that Four Agreements book is really good, but it talks about, you know, if you woke up tomorrow and the doctor gave you a week to live, like, how would you live your life? And you can wait forever for Bitcoin to 10x or 100x, but you might miss out on time and enjoying it. So my intention is to spend a bit of my Bitcoin every year and just enjoy life, and then just try and get to the end and not be broke.
Yeah, unlike Pierre Richard, whose primary goal is to have no fun for 70 years while putting all his assets into Bitcoin.
Yeah, but he's memeing. He's
joke,
memeing
though.
you. Yeah, he's memeing you.
Yeah, I know.
It's all a
I know.
meme.
He triggers a lot of Ethereum people. They think he's serious. A lot of altcoiners are like, Maxis are so cringy. They're trying to sell all their chairs to
I've got a beef with that guy because he was like, I want to create an echo chamber. I want to live in my echo chamber. Why would I ever want to expose my worldview beyond my echo chamber? And I just can't get down with that. If he was at all serious.
But do you know what it is? I think
Pierre, so I mean, I get.
I was blocked for a while. I was blocked because of my beef.
Is he still employed by Kraken?
He is.
Yeah,
probably.
But
I think the thing is,
network integrated.
People are giving him shit for being, closed-minded and living in an echo chamber. So he just embraced it. You know, it's all of it is a joke. It's not like he doesn't. I believe he does own shares in his home.
At some point,
I do believe he does.
At some point, you become what you pretend to be. As a person who's had a pseudonymous identity for the last 9 years, I feel like I'm a relatively good authority on the subject. And like, whatever you pretend to be, and like, oh, I'm doing this as a joke. I've been doing this as a joke for 5 years. Wait, no, this is my personality now. that's
I'm actually Cobie now.
But what is it?
My name.
Well, what is it? There's a whole Bitcoin thesis on memeing Bitcoin to the moon, right? So you just make jokes and you just meme it. Pretty much
Doge
Elon
did.
Musk.
Doge
they did
it way better than Bitcoin.
Yeah, but they did it in different ways. But you can't meme Elon Musk into buying 1.5 billion of Doge, but he was definitely memed into buying 1.5 billion dollars of Bitcoin.
That's true.
And that's fucking impressive when you think about it. When you actually go through
Elon Musk, who's personally pumping Doge.
No, but like, it's quite impressive that it happened. So I think those memes are about
Mark
like,
Cuban
let's not give a
trying
fuck.
to do it.
Fuck Mark Cuban, moron. But like, I think
Shout out Mark Cuban. Past guest.
bananas. Yeah, bananas. I think
If he was listening to this episode, he probably tuned out like 15
Bro, he's in the
chat.
chat. Look, he's in the chat. Look,
Is he shilling his NFTs?
Is he selling bananas?
In the chat.
Is he
M. Cuban in the chat. There you go.
Is it actually him or just somebody pretending?
Yeah, he tunes into all the
it's
episodes.
him.
I can't see the chat.
We trade pre-sale deals.
Fuck's sake, Mark.
I've showed him so many things. I show him the NFTs I like.
Tell Mark Cuban to send me back some money from Unicorn Gold if he's actually listening. That 2017 ICO he backed.
What
Have a good time with that one.
What team
That
does
went
he
to
own?
zero.
Does he own the Dallas Mavericks or something?
Mavs. Owns the Mavs, yeah.
Okay.
As of yet, he has not invited me courtside, which I think is a bit of a snub given all the alpha I've sent him. The other day I sent him a full essay on Ethereum scaling. He asked me like, how does this work? And I was like, all right, I've got to write this out because it's like actual Mark Cuban. And he didn't reply.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight my disappointment that somewhere in the like CCs on those emails, I just got dropped off. You know, like, so now all that Cobie alpha of Mark Cuban, I just am gone off of that. I was really collecting it for a minute.
I got two questions. I want to know, if you're willing to answer, you don't have to answer, the percentage portfolio allocation that you have to Bitcoin as a percentage of your whole portfolio, and the percentage portfolio allocation that you have to Cardano. I can tell
Brad,
you
do you
mine.
wanna
I have
start?
zero. I have zero of both.
Are you serious about Cardano? I don't think any of us have any
Nobody has
Cardano.
Cardano, but I like it.
Nobody has
Good
Cardano.
question.
I've got follow-up questions about Cardano.
You got
but I wanna
zero.
hear
You got
like-
zero Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
First time since 2012.
You're
Well, I tell-
0% Bitcoin, you said?
I
Yeah,
tell
first
you
time
what would
since
be
2012.
But Cobie, an
That's
interesting side question to that would be, what is your crypto to fiat allocation? Because I'm 100% Bitcoin, but my crypto to fiat allocation is probably 93% crypto. So I'm basically 93% Bitcoin,
Is that liquid?
7%
Mine-
cash.
Mine's similar to yours.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, but it's only because of the amount that the Bitcoin's gone up. Like as of March last year, it was very weighted the other way. As of March, I went like 60-40, but the 60 got way bigger. 'Cause
So-
everything
so-
went up a lot.
Not sure,
So
man.
I
I don't believe
actually-
you're 7%.
I was right. I tweeted at you back in January. I said, I'm going to one day have more Bitcoin than Cobie because he's going to sell it
There
all.
you made it. There you made
So
it. Yeah.
I was serious when I said that. I knew you were going to sell
Yeah,
it
but
all.
your net worth just became smaller and smaller percentages of Cobie during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got
Yeah.
more Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin hyperinflation happens and hyper Bitcoinization happens, I'm good.
I think
It's
Cobie's
just
got
that
more
they-
He's just
Play
going to
the
have
long game,
dirty,
play the long game.
dirty
Ethiopia.
fiat. He's going to have dirty fiat and dirty altcoins that are all going to go down 95%. And I'm going to
That
have
nasty,
pristine
that
Bitcoins.
nasty flipping Ethereum sitting there at number one in market cap.
Flipping,
B&B's got
is-
a better chance of flipping Ethereum than
How much you
Ethereum
want to put
has
on that? How much you want to put
I don't
on
want to
that?
bet on
Okay.
that. I don't want to use. I don't want to use. I don't want to use.
Bro, Brad,
Augur.
you should have taken it. It's a godlike bet for you because you can just long Bitcoin and you make like if you take the bet, you can long ETH with one Bitcoin and beat the odds unless Ledger gives you trash odds. So if anyone wants you to make a bet on the flippening, as the person betting
you
against
should always
it, you
take
should
it.
always take it. You should always take it. It's
Brad
free
had
money.
his one chance to get the good side of that bet, and now he lost.
Yeah, that was free. That was a free money bet.
I suck at
based on-
option stuff.
The thing is, like, my average entry for ETH on Bitcoin to ETH is like almost half of what the current price is. So like, even if it starts reversing, I've got plenty of room to swap back. And the Bitcoin to ETH OTC market is like hyper liquid. You barely even slip the price if you're doing like a non 3AC type size.
It's an extraordinary flex to say you need the OTC market at all for ETH BTC because you could just trade it on any exchange to the tune of like tens of millions of dollars in a 24-hour period, probably.
Yeah,
hundreds of
well,
millions
ever
of
since they did the death of Ethereum party, I've been cycling through money. I like buy.
Hold on, we need to talk about that because I'm included in all the fucking screenshots. I was nothing to do with that party. Okay, I open up Clubhouse, I get a fucking alert saying Udi started a party. I click on the link, I go in, and then I'm part of the meme. I had fuck all to do with that.
Well, you
It was
powered
Peter's
us to-
idea.
Powered us to new heights. It's been
So,
very profitable. to be that
Udi,
high.
what if this
No, but the
meme-
podcast, the Clubhouse was obviously a joke. I mean, anyone who actually went there knows that it was. Do you think we thought that Ethereum was going to die the next day? I mean, obviously the title was supposed to be clickbait.
Brad's like,
Which
I
turned out
did.
to be a bit
I
more
did,
clickbait.
yeah.
I turned up
It
for that.
worked.
In fact, he was like,
I thought that
came
new.
fully prepared.
Yeah, I was
So-
like,
So
was waiting
people,
to see
I think people
Vitalik
who
in
joined,
chains.
I think people who joined saw that it was a joke. Of course, we talked about Ethereum going down. That's true, but we didn't talk about it dying. But yeah, Peter just joined in. I think Peter was the first one who got into the room. Actually, was very enthusiastic about the title.
Go fuck yourself, Udi. You're
But-
a liar, man. Full of shit.
But wouldn't this make
All
a
right.
But
really great...
no, but it's
This would
true.
make a
It
great
wasn't Peter's
screenshot
idea.
if this started the bear market and BTC breaking down below 53K, death of Bitcoin party was true for like 3 years. Like, like we just topped the Bitcoin market by bringing all the Maxis on up only.
It can happen.
The
Well,
Colby,
happen.
I think
I mean-
I think the shit coins are breaking your brain, man. Why are you selling all your Bitcoin? You gotta keep some Bitcoin.
Do you know why? I can tell you why, but I hope that the people I'm going to talk about don't watch because I know this in one of them. The reason is, right, I, as a person, am not satisfied with performing at par with JP Morgan and Michael Saylor. Like MicroStrategy pre-Bitcoin No one knew what that was. No one's ever heard that before. They don't do anything. And like when Saylor comes in, starts buying, I'm like, cool, institutional adoption. When he starts buying on margin, I'm like, this seems like a little bit of an exit signal for me. It feels a little bit like he's the dumb money entering and going, Bitcoin to the moon, Bitcoin to the moon. I'm going to put all my money, I'm going to put billions in. And like for me, like cool, if he keeps pumping Bitcoin, great. But the narrative at some point flips from when's the next institution, like, oh, institutions are buying, to wait, when's the next one buying? How come Apple hasn't bought yet? Facebook didn't buy, so we should dump. Instead of being like, why would Facebook ever buy? That's what it was like a year ago. Now it's like, if Facebook are not buying today, it's bearish.
But that's just the people you're listening to. That's not all Bitcoin.
That's the market price. That's like, we dumped on the Facebook earnings because it didn't have Bitcoin in. So like I see my job in crypto as adding a bunch of personal risk, because I want to outperform everyone that's listening to this. I want to outperform all of you guys. I want to outperform Michael Saylor. I want to outperform Jack. I want to outperform JP Morgan and Goldman, who've just spun up their Bitcoin desks to put like a Bitcoin trading strategy together. Like, I don't want to outperform at par with them. I've never been happy with that. I front ran the billionaires by 9 years. Now I don't just want to like sit with them like, isn't this fun? You've got more Bitcoin than me. You just rolled in at the end and bought loads. Great. Like, I want to outperform all of those people by 10x, and they're the only, like, I can't do that by holding the same assets as them. And of course, it adds more risk to me. It adds the same amount of risk, if not more risk, than holding Bitcoin did in 2012 and 2013. So if that's literally my job. That's the whole point of my existence. If I'm sitting in Bitcoin, I don't feel alive. I don't have enough risk. Like, what am I doing? I'm just like performing at market or below market. Like, I'm literally Crypto Cobain. Like, I created a Twitter account called Crypto Cobain that I've run for 8 years. If I don't outperform all of you motherfuckers, I've not done a good job. I need to outperform the average shitcoin returns, because like I've made a personality out of this thing. If I don't, it's fucking embarrassing. I can never sell any of this shit. I'm in forever now.
Unless you sell the top, then you can sell it.
Yeah, that's also my job, right? Like, my job is to like cyclically play it out, sell as close to the top as possible. Not the absolute top, although sometimes I do. I feel like it's vanity. Like, I need to sell within 10% of the top and buy within 10% of the bottom, and add as much risk as possible that I outperform all the boomers that are now saying, yeah, well, we've thought Bitcoin was good for the last 7 years. Like, no, you didn't, dude. You told everyone not to allocate. You like told all these family offices not to get any.
Cobie, I've got the trade for you.
Yeah.
You like to buy at the bottom. You want to sell at the top. You want to take as much risk as possible. Have you thought about buying a football club? No, I'm seriously. Bedford Town is in the lowest league in the football that you can possibly get. Oh, I think I can convince Charlie Lee to put some money in, and I think I can convince the Winklevoss. I don't really have enough because I keep buying cars.
Bro, I think Bedford Dow is going to happen. You can do that on Ethereum or Binance Smart.
We could. The stadium would be called the Citadel. We could have the Cobie stand, but we could actually take a football club into the football league, and then you could sell the top. And I think it'll be your best trade ever. We should.
Yeah, you do better than Mark Cuban.
Don't you want to have a stadium? Don't you want to have a stadium?
You know, it is quite an attractive like thought, right? Because after the Cuban, I didn't know much about Cuban before the Cuban episode we did. I just knew that he was a billionaire and he was on Shark Tank, and that my mum had seen him in Grace and Frankie and was like, "Oh yeah, he's handsome." I didn't know much about him apart from that. And then I like looked into his life, and had a chat to him. He seemed like pretty cool on the podcast. I looked into his life and I was like, bro, this guy fucking killed it, dude. He like grew up, I don't know if he was poor or, but he definitely wasn't rich. He didn't have the silver spoon. He hustled, had a bunch of jobs in his like teenage years, hustled his way to like selling a company for billions of dollars, selling another one for billions of dollars, sold the top of the stock market, like self-made billionaire. And then like absolute king shit decided, you know what? I really like sport. I'm going to buy a sports team and spend the next 20 years having fun. Like going to my favorite team's fucking games. Turn up at the stadium every game. Everyone treats me like a king because I fucking own the place. Sit courtside. You know when you watch like I'm not that into sports, to be honest. Like I don't really give a shit about sports, and like sometimes the only shit I get excited about is if I go watch the rugby live Or when the World Cup comes around, I turn into a football fan for 1 week only for the final. Don't care who's in it. Just like I pick that team and they're going to win. And that sort of thrill, the adrenaline rush you get that when you're seeing a sports team and the game's close, he just bought that every year for the rest of his life. And he gets treated like a king when he's there. It's like he bought the best social life ever. I think he's like fucking cool. I like, so it's attractive, but I don't think Bedford. Like I've seen the stadium. Like you're going to need to build a new one. I don't know if that's the team to buy.
So it's I think it's a £5 million project to take them from where they are into the Football League, and then whatever to get them into the Premier League. I've spoke to a.
Cobie's like, I made that on my last trade.
No, because I was trying to buy them in 2017.
His unrealized P&L on Ethereum.
Did you actually,
more
Peter?
than to buy that?
No, I did. I made an inquiry to buy them because I was convinced I was going to have enough money in 2017 because I was convinced everything went up forever. So I made an inquiry to buy them, and then I lost all my money, so I didn't buy them. But I spent time with someone talking about like the project, the stadium we need, the process. But it's about 5 million we think to get them in the Football League, and then from in the Football League into the Premier League is a whole different story. But I just think there's a whole excellent story. Like there's the Bitcoin Club. So for example, I think if you had 5 million in Bitcoin, you put it in today, like you will make more money in Bitcoin. You'll make money in Bitcoin quicker than you can spend it. So your Bitcoin pound pot will grow quicker than you can spend it. So it's got a cool story, and you can make a documentary. Cobie,
I'll just sell one of my Flow wallets OTC and let's go.
Let's do it. Let's genuinely. We should do it.
What team did Ryan Reynolds buy?
I do know somebody that's buying Flow OTC.
Yeah, hook me up. But it's got to be a good price. I
You
sold
want
some,
to get legacy?
8.5 billion market cap. That's the valuation.
I sold some
there.
at 20, which is like half of the top, which I thought I was pretty happy with managing to get some off at 20.
Just take 10% of that and put it in Bitcoin. And just hold it in a casa.
Cobie, this could be your legacy. Bedford could be your legacy.
Yeah, buy the thing with Peter. Buy some
generally,
Bitcoin and cold storage.
I think generally though with sports teams, like the real way to go about it is to buy high and never sell. Like if you're going to be a Maxi, you probably need to be a Maxi as a sports team buyer because you're going to have a much better run with it if you're buying like, you know, the New York Giants or like the Patriots or like one of the big market teams or something like that.
Me and Peter don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's just the NFL.
Ledger.
Chelsea.
He's nearly convinced. Shut the fuck up. He's nearly convinced.
I know you just want like a little box seat at the Bedford games or whatever, so that you can go get drunk. But like, but
I don't know if they sell beer though. It's basically a. Have you not seen the photos of them? It's basically a shed.
It's like my old hometown stadiums. Like the stadium's not really words, is it? It's like it is like a shed. Yeah.
Funny thing is, if I'd have taken you up on that ETH thing, I could have done it.
hey,
yeah.
Peter,
Bro,
the chat wants to see the
like-
Peter Schiff photo. If you could bring it up close.
Oh my god! I just saw it in the background.
Cobie, have you ever thought of like talking?
I've also got my American HODL Employee of the Month.
Employee of the month? That was
Yeah,
funny.
American HODL.
Yeah.
Employee of the Month.
If anybody didn't believe Cobie's rant earlier, like I've known him mostly through this podcast and like a handful of weeks where we complained about the American elections before that together. But I've learned since like he's the most competitive person I know. So like the up only
You got to
treasury-
protect yourself from yourself, though. You know, like, would you be okay losing 50% if hyperinflation actually happened? If there was if a depression actually happened, if the central banks
Are you
blew
still about
up-
him not owning Bitcoin?
I'm just saying in general, you're taking.
Dude, let
you
him
know,
not own Bitcoin. He doesn't want to.
I know. I'm just
More
wondering
Bitcoins
for the
for us.
mindset of it. Like, you're okay with seeing,
Dude, have you
or would
seen
you?
the
Do you
ETH
think you
have
would
you seen
get
the ETH
into?
BTC chart? Like,
No, I'm
You're
saying
like
if a macro event happened, like hyperinflation or central bank failure, or something that's like a serious threat coming with all this money they're printing, and this is the stuff.
What
that
I'm saying is I
about.
don't currently own Bitcoin because I think there's better capital allocations. But as a person, I generally try and use the best information available to me to rebalance to the thing that I think gives me the largest upside or protects me from the largest downside, depending on market conditions. So if a hyperinflation event happens, I don't think that ETH BTC is going to go to zero in a single 30-minute candle without me being able to react. There's too much margin in the system for that to happen anyway.
Mark Cuban in the chat said that's why Brad stacked 200 kilograms of rice.
You ask Mark Cuban if he wants to buy a British football team.
If it's an NFT,
Like,
if he can NFT the players, he'll do it.
Didn't he sell like broadcast.com for like 6 billion and all I need is 5 million and it will change my life? Tell him, come on, Mark. Come on, Mark.
Tell him he owes me a favor for that Unicorn Gold thing. I'm still sitting on a 0 from that. Just buy Peter's.
He's sitting on a 0 too, man.
Yeah, he said on our
Maybe.
show he lost loads of money on 2017 ICOs.
Yeah, he didn't want to name and shame, but you just did it for him.
Yeah.
Those Unicorn
Peter,
Gold.
do you know what Pleaser DAO is?
Nope.
So Pleaser DAO is a community like fund that was organized by a Twitter artist called People Pleaser who makes a bunch of animations. They raised I think it was like $6 or $7 million to buy the Edward Snowden NFT. So it took them like 5 minutes. So Bedford DAO is like, if you launch Bedford DAO, it is actually trivial. You will buy Bedford tomorrow. You'll raise way more than 5 million, and then.
Yeah, but I lose all my credibility as a Bitcoin podcast.
You have to create your DAO on the.
And
Yeah,
you take
but you'll
on
make even more money.
But he takes on regulatory risk, though.
Your revenue will go through the roof as an Ethereum podcaster.
Yeah, think of all the airdrops you'll get.
Yeah.
It's so tricky. It's a really tricky choice.
Ethereum podcasts can make a lot of money in
No.
the like 6 months period that they have.
You already made the switch. You already sacrificed your principles away from Bitcoin maximalists who sell shitcoins to make all their money at Kraken to Gemini, who are native shitcoin maximalists who talk a good game.
I didn't
about
even
Bitcoin.
notice. I only promote their Bitcoin. I only promote their Bitcoin services.
I know. The interview.
I didn't know they had shitcoins.
The interview that you did with them was so good, man. Like, it was like they were trying to dance this fine line of appeasing to Bitcoin maximalists, but they were like, I don't know, it's good. Y'all gotta go listen to that. Shout out whatbitcoindid.com.
Bro, you know that the Winklevoss twins, they are the most twin I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen twins that look so much like twins.
And
Because like a lot
talk
of
and
time
think
twins,
and act.
they look
yeah.
like twins, but they look a bit different. The Winklevoss twins, they're clones. They're clones. It's fucking weird. They look exactly the fucking same. There's not. You look at a picture of two of them, you go, which one's which? You can't tell. You can't. The only way you can tell is one of them likes to wear.
Twins should
floral
only be
jackets.
allowed to be twins up until they're like 10. Afterwards, it's
No,
not
I
cute
can
anymore.
tell.
Like, what's
I can
going
tell.
on?
Peter can tell because
Yeah.
Tyler has a more musky smell.
If you stop,
Tyler-
being
Tyler's on the right.
Bitcoin only, what would you
Tyler's
name
on
the
the right.
podcast?
Did you just say Tyler's on the right?
Tyler's on the right.
Imagine
Always
if
on
you
the
were
right.
Imagine if you were the Winklevoss twin that underperformed the other one. Like, if one of the Winklevoss twins like net worth is like 2.5 and the other one's 2.1.
No,
like, imagine being the
accounts,
worst.
all their accounts are
They have one
shared.
bank
Like, they
account.
just have
They have
one
one bank
Shared
account.
accounts.
one checking account.
No, there's going to be a worst Winklevoss twin. One of them's
I
going
was
to be the
dating
best,
a-
and one
I
of them's
was-
going to be the worst.
I was dating a twin in LA and they shared a wardrobe.
One of the Winklevoss twins? Which one?
No, you
Tyler?
dickhead. girls. No, they shared a wardrobe.
Oh,
They had
tell us
one
more.
wardrobe. They
Tell us
bought
more.
clothes, they went into it, and they shared a wardrobe. They did not have a separate wardrobe each.
Wait, so you're saying you went to America and stayed with female twins who shared clothing?
Yeah, they had one wardrobe which they both used, and if you bought, it went into it, and they
Can you
shared
tell us
clothes.
more about this story?
Sounds like the plot to Love Actually, Peter.
So it was a wardrobe DAO.
Yeah.
What league is Wrexham in? Are they in Bedford? League?
Way above Bedford. They're way above Bedford.
Right. Because Ryan Reynolds has bought Wrexham, right? So like, if you can just do it as a way to pay Ryan Reynolds to be your friend/enemy, that's probably worth it.
Are you gonna let Ryan Reynolds do you like that, Cobie?
We're gonna fucking beat him in like League 17.
Come on, man. You know how many billionaires do you know? You can get 5 million. Like,
Yeah, let's just ask Suzu. Suzu's like, he finds it in the back of his couch. Final.
Don't you think that's a sign of this bubble being near the top, where you just randomly find in bags worth 6-7 figures? Like some people,
I'm not finding bags like that. funny
Same,
enough.
same.
The thing is, you
I
only
know
find
Cobie
like that
is.
when you bought altcoins.
I know Cobie is.
I'm in one of the chats with Brad where people are finding 6 and 7 figure bags. One of them's in the chat right now. Shout out, chat. It's very triggering. It's very triggering.
Like,
when
a friend-
finds 6 or 7 figures.
A friend of
Just
mine
like-
found a bag. A friend of mine found a bag worth 5 million the other day of some advisor token that he had from 2017. Like, doesn't that seem like it's a bit irrational? Like, maybe this is the top or near the top.
I don't know.
I don't think people having large amounts of money signals the top, because like Saylor had large amounts of money when he bought in. It didn't mean it was the top. Like if we are actually having hyperinflation and we're printing trillions and the dollar's really devaluing, then like we should get used to people having large amounts of money, and like a big number on a screen shouldn't make your stomach go, oh, it's like I'm afraid of heights now. We just need to normalize them. Like when I was growing up, I thought millionaire meant you had a lot of money, and like now a millionaire's like wrecked, isn't it?
Yeah, wrecked, man.
So,
literally can't afford anything.
Well, it makes like British millionaires a bit all right, because like pound's worth more than the dollar, but like dollar millionaires fully wrecked. It's like,
yeah, I read somewhere that it was like the equivalent of a millionaire when we were growing up is now you got to have like $5.5 million to just have the same buying power as a millionaire, the representation of like a millionaire.
I think it was even more. I read something the other day. It was like 8.5 or something. But way back when, you could live.
Yeah, but you're like 10 years younger than us, Cobie.
That's true.
Just you.
And I read it a year ago.
I'm in the middle of the age curve, just like I'm in the middle of the
Brad, how old are you?
bell curve.
38.
Are you? I thought you were older than me.
38.
Yeah.
How old are you? I thought you were older than me.
What's y'all's mother's maiden's name?
You're 40, right? You just turned 40?
42.
42? I thought you just turned 40.
No, I'm 42, but like socialism has obviously aged you badly.
It's bagged milk. We have bagged milk in Canada.
What's that?
Bagged milk?
Bags of milk. We don't have cartons. We have bags.
I don't understand.
Well,
How old are you, Ledger?
What?
How old are you?
No, thank you, sir.
32, I'd imagine.
34.
29.
34. He's
I reckon
mystery.
he's 35.
So.
Udi, what are you, 36?
What's your mother's maiden name, Ledger?
Ledger, what are the name 13
What's the
words
first
that come
city
to
you
mind?
traveled to?
13 words that I can think of off the top of my head.
Hedgick, Rook.
Hedgick's such a piece of crap. I've already been on my up only rant about that, though. We don't have to continue that. I had another question. I forgot about it.
I want to ask about Cardano, because no one has portfolio allocation to Cardano, right? And before we came on, Udi made a joke about Cardano. Like, we've got to talk about Cardano if he was not the first guest to be on twice.
Actually, I have some of Cardano, but I don't know where it is. About 3 years ago, somebody said, I'm sending you some, made me open a wallet, and they sent me 500 Cardano. I don't know where the wallet is.
Bro, that's about $20 million now.
It's not really.
Yeah, for it should, 500 Cardano
should be worth
$1 million.
Shut up. It's not. What is it really worth?
Peter has left the chat.
This is the
No,
moment.
but I don't know. I'm never
The
going to get
podcast
it.
tomorrow. Welcome to What Cardano Did with Charles Hoskin.
I remember what I was going to say to your point about the bubble. I think if you look back, you could have looked in 2017 in like say June, right? When Bitcoin went to 5K, it was 4x previous all-time highs. There had been these markups and things like Sia coin from 12 sats to 400 or whatever it did. And you could have looked at it the same way, and you still could have missed many multiples between Bitcoin's markup cycle from, up to 20K, and then the alts run in early 2018. And I don't know what total multiple was possible in that time frame, but like you could have missed a great deal of the run. And I don't think it scales like that though, Ledger. Look at the valuations of all this stuff. Dude, the valuations then were much more absurd in my mind, on a relative basis, and versus what the products were. And anyway, so I don't want to say like, whether it's exactly the same this time or whatever. But I think that you can make a case for sure that we're not, in a baseball reference, we're not in like the ninth inning, I don't think. But it's not early either. Like it can't be when the base layer currencies of Bitcoin and ETH have 10x off the bottom. I think we're in like inning 3 or 4, maybe going into 5 for Bitcoin. But for crypto in general, I think we're inning 8, 9. No. That just can't work that way. I don't think. Like might be a overtime. Couple extra.
Let's cycle 10x from the bottom was like the beginning. That was, you know,
Right.
$1,700.
But we're
So
approaching like
there was
world
nothing.
reserve currency status for Bitcoin at another 10x, like global reserve currency
That's
like
why,
gold.
and that's why your argument's wrong. And
Yeah, 'cause
But we can go up
Bitcoin can't
10x
go up no more.
in 4 months.
that's why the altcoin,
I mean, 4
the
innings.
altcoin, the altcoin opportunities, especially if they concentrate, if they don't like just spread out evenly, but they like move to the most productive blue chips or whatever, which they probably won't. But that's why I think there's much more
Yeah.
upside on that front.
I also think you're oversimplifying it, right? Like, as long as there is a bull market in like a crypto asset that is relatively large, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, fucking Ripple, Cardano, I don't care. Like, whatever number one is, as long as there's a bull market there, there's going to be a bunch of people who go, I can probably make money off this. And then therefore there will be superior bull markets in speculative assets on top of or within the ecosystem. Like, the reason BSC had a massive alt season has got nothing to do with BSC. It's just that human psychology goes, wow, there's a bunch of money here. There's a bunch of money to be made. Maybe we can all play chicken together, and some people will make money and some people will buy the top. So like, as long as there's froth, there's going to be like way more froth in.
Yeah, DeFi, NFTs, BSC, and that can rotate. That like hot ball of money or whatever can just move around to different.
But do you think it can
That's
actually go to Cardano?
That's just
though?
leveraged play.
It already went to Cardano. Cardano
buying
was an early
Bitcoin.
mover.
But I mean, Cardano, like actually, like, do you guys? You're asking about it, Cobie. Are you just joking
Yeah,
around,
so
or
we-
do you
we-
think it can actually compete with Solana or Binance Smart Chain or any of these next gen?
No,
smart
so the reason I
contract
wanted to
platforms?
ask is I find Cardano interesting in that it has become the by default dunked on thing. Like, I don't own any. Like, my bias thinks it's trash. Like, everyone else seems to think it's trash. Everyone says it's a ghost chain. It
It's
gets
like the
memed all
Ripple
time.
for smart contracts.
Exactly, yeah. It's become the Ripple of this cycle, or the Zeta coin of the, whatever previous cycle.
I knew the community manager of that Zeta coin thing.
Oh, shout out.
Nice
Which one?
flex.
Bitcoin Sacks or?
I can't remember his name. I just remember chatting with him. What's
Yeah,
Zeta
Bitcoin
coin? I
Sacks
was such a noob back then.
Yeah, me
Altcoins
too,
are going to
man.
be the future. What's a Zeta
Yeah.
coin do? What is
Half
the utility
chat-
value
half
of
the chat
Zeta
really
coin?
is trying to use their imagination for noob Brad from 2014.
Yeah, but like, what my question is like, instinctively we go, haha, Cardano's a joke, right? But does anyone know why? Does anyone like
Well, I think
actually
it's-
understand
it's-
why it's shit?
It's hardly operational. It's like, for the longest time, it wasn't even like, they didn't even call it a mainnet. They called it a testnet for the longest time. And now it still doesn't have like smart contracts. So like, what does it do exactly? You know, like they're saying that it's this Ethereum killer, but it literally doesn't do anything. So
I
yeah,
give,
so
in that
Cardano killer.
sense,
I give a
Did you
lot
say
of
Peter?
merit. I give a
Yeah.
lot of merit to the ETH ecosystem repeating what the Bitcoin ecosystem did, which I was too late to experience most of that. But like the people that said, "Oh, we're just Bitcoin killers. We're making it better in one way or the other," and some like maybe they had a decent narrative for a while, like a Decred, and then some were Feathercoin or whatever they are that were obviously dumb, and Bitcoin won out because of network effects. And I feel like Ethereum's landscape is having the exact same type of cycle. I can't remember. It might have been Raoul Paul who talked
I
about
think
how
that's
he could-
actually not happening. Look at BSC. There's more active wallets and more transactions on BSC. There's more volume and liquidity on PancakeSwap than there is on Uniswap.
It's not going to last.
I think it'll play.
I think it is
it'll
going to
play out
last. Like
differently with
this is
Ethereum.
this is a Lindy effect ceiling. The fee crisis on Ethereum is a Lindy effect ceiling.
Yeah, you know, it
Why
was
do you
really
think-
way
that's
cheaper
interesting,
to
Ledger. Why
transact
do you
on
think it's not
Digibyte
gonna
than it
last?
was on Bitcoin in 2017 because Roger Ver was like,
Yeah, but
spamming
look
the
at
network.
all.
Yeah, but
You can say that, but look at actually the fundamentals. Look at what's going on with Binance Smart Chain and Solana. Like FTX is one of the behemoths in the space. They got their money behind Solana, and Binance has 5x more signups than Coinbase. They're much bigger than Coinbase. So A16Z and all the VCs backing Ethereum projects, they didn't have the there's serious competition in Binance Smart Chain with Binance backing it and with Solana with FTX backing it.
The
I think that
the fundamentals are not there for BSC when you get down to it. It's just not the same as
yeah,
what
well,
it'll
that's
be.
if you pretend that Ethereum is decentralized, but it's not really. That's what it comes down to.
This is gonna age poorly, so I'm just gonna let it like simmer, just marinate on those words because that's not gonna age well at all.
I think that the Cardano thing is when projects have marketing that outpace delivery. Like Cardano has amazing marketing. It sucks in all of the people that are like brand new to the space, has the unit bias effect for marketing too. But a lot of their selling points don't really have anything to do with their chain. Like they're building like a visual language and identity solution, many of which exist. They have like this partnership with Ethiopia, which if anyone was around in 2014, probably triggered you lost all your money on the last partnership with a country. And they like claim to be like the most.
Is that Aurora coin throwback?
No, Zetacoin. Zetacoin was going to fix Africa. Do you not remember? They had the partnership
I didn't remember
with
that
Kenya and Safaricom, which was just a scam. But like Cardano claims to be like the most technologically advanced blockchain, but their tech's like pretty 2017. No BLS signatures, no ZK tech, no roll-ups. We've got pretty intense competition.
No smart contracts at all, right, Udi?
I think that'll launch, right? But like even that, they're priced with market cap as though they've already launched and succeeded. I think one of the main things is this, like these claims versus economic activity, like really, really repel people, and like claims and massive market cap. But I looked into Cardano, I did a bunch of research, and they have done some things kind of cool, like tokens are built into the chain rather than like locked in smart contracts, which is like, it seems like a better design to me. I don't know enough about blockchain design, but like from my point of view, it seems better. But there's like, they seem like very big claims, but I always dunk on Cardano and I didn't really understand why. So I did a bunch of looking into it, and I'm like, all right, now it's like, it's fine to dunk on Cardano now.
It just
After
feels
my research, I think it's fine.
like it just feels weird that Charles pretends he's 50 and he's actually like 36.
Yeah, it's like Cardano is actually an options contract on his YouTube career.
I think that if
It just feels weird.
I think if I was going to give a comparison to BSC versus ETH and that like uptake or whatever you want to call it, I think
talking about Cardano Ledger.
Yeah, I know. I'm going backwards. I think it is actually a decent comparison, and I still stick to this general idea that it's a lot like Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin, and like as a potential threat, and at least the way people perceive it. Like it's not like a absolute.
No, people love Binance. People don't like Roger Ver and Jihan. People love Binance.
There was a lot.
I think it's similar, but they're trying to achieve something that's fundamentally different. Like Bitcoin Cash was trying to achieve something that's fundamentally different.
And they succeeded. Look at the usage. Like Bitcoin Cash never got the usage that they claimed they were going to get. Binance Smart Chain did it in like 4 months.
No, it's just a different type.
I think it's a mistake to underestimate it. I don't think like a lot of the. Yeah. I'm not. I don't think it's going to end up like Bitcoin Cash.
I'm not trying to underestimate BSC as a whole or as an option. I just don't think it's.
Ethereum has no moat. Ethereum has no moat. The only moat Ethereum has is the investor base.
No, you're making a mistake of
and the Maxi developers.
You're making a mistake on the network effects in a big way. And I think the developer ecosystem, the brand itself, the total
1 inch move to Binance Smart Chain.
No, it won't.
The ETH, it did already. 1 inch already moved to Binance Smart Chain.
Moved sounds like it
didn't move.
Moved. Yeah. Sorry, integrated with. So
BSC,
the narrative,
which requires copy pasting your code, right? Like
right, but at the beginning, the narrative was back.
That's the benefit. That's a good thing.
In 4 months ago, they were saying Binance Smart Chain is centralized. We're never going to use it. It's not real. It's not like Ethereum. And then they saw all the user growth and the fees going up to $100 to do a Ponzi swap on chain, like $1,000 to close a DYDX short or something like that. That's crazy. By necessity.
The real life scalability. The real life.
Isn't DYDX like cheap and on rollups?
Well, is it DYDX or Fulcrum? One or the other. Fulcrum is maybe on chain. DYDX is just a bucket shop then.
No.
One of them is.
No, DYDX.
One of them's a bucket shop and one of them's expensive to close and use.
They're all expensive when they're on layer 1. Yeah. And the layer 2 options and the scalability that is coming to Ethereum. I know it sounds ridiculous. You can look back in these same types of like, it's not going to work. Look how slow it is. Look how high the fees are.
But it's not as good as Solana.
It all happened on Bitcoin, and Solana has its own challenges I can get to. But on the Ethereum side, BSC will end up being a non-ideal sidechain that has a pretty direct integration with Binance as its feature. Doesn't mean it's going to die, but it's going to be less ideal than pretty much any of the layer 2 solutions or even other more decentralized sidechains. But I think the layer 2s will.
Well, in the
outperform all the
analogy,
sidechains.
I agree with you, Ledger. But in the analogy you made about Bitcoin versus BCH, Binance Smart Chain has like 100x surpassed the in the analogy because it's
the perceived level of threat. It was a significant.
I do think
level.
Ledger, you might be at risk of pulling out a middle curve argument there. Like I think the bull case for BNB is not like the less decentralized or more decentralized or tech is worse or whatever. The bull case for BNB is very simple. It's Binance has fucking loads of money.
Yeah,
Binance is really is huge
and distribution.
And like Udi says all the time, people really don't care about decentralization. Only maxis care about decentralization.
BNB is like the collateral that's used on BSC, right? So like there is huge incentive from Binance to use all their marketing dollars to acquire users which have a lifetime value per user that is profitable. So they can just like recursively plow money into acquiring users and shilling them onto their chain. And they get like unsophisticated users get stuck in this funnel, like this product funnel of I'm on the internet or I'm using Google or I'm watching a BitBoy video on TikTok because I've just heard about crypto for the first time. I get a Binance advert. I'm signing up to Binance. Fuck, I'm on Binance Smart Chain. I don't know how I ended up here. I don't even know what a blockchain is. I don't know what proof of work is. I don't know what proof of stake is. I'm now using PancakeSwap because this is what the internet. This is how the internet told me I'm supposed to make money. That's the bull case for BNB, and
that reflexivity plays out in multitudes in that landscape. The same, like the bear market reflexivity, when people get wrecked, that landscape.
BNB did the best during the bear market. It's held its value against Bitcoin.
That's BNB. That's not like XYZ DeFi.
Yeah, but BCH got totally destroyed in the bear market against Bitcoin. So I think like
when I was trying to make that comparison,
Peter's just left us.
When I was trying to make that comparison, it was in reference to the threat profile,
the reflexivity
as it occurred. Right. The reflexivity argument is in regard to BNB can be a productive utility coin, feeds Binance profits to BNB holders, but that's not the same as like Nerve Finance or whatever like DeFi thing is BSC only, because eventually I think that the BSC network will not hold up the way that other ETH layer 2s do, or like
hold up in what way?
Scalability.
Keep up with the growth. Like if there's 100 million people that end up on DeFi,
or
you're
people
saying
that choose to stay there, and that's where they want to exist as participants in the DeFi landscape.
Why not?
I just don't think it will. That's my bet.
Like if like imagine. No, I get it. I'm wondering why. Like imagine you first heard of cryptocurrencies and DeFi through BSC, right? That's the first thing you used.
Yeah.
Why would you leave for something else? Why would you leave for Ethereum?
I think it could take a while for that to actually play out, because these things deflate in bear markets, right? When you break it down to the baseline narratives and value, it's like what's the last man standing type of thing, and I think those will be the ones that fall down the quickest, right?
Yeah, well, you and Cobie make.
What's that?
You and Cobie make like opposite arguments there. I think.
I've got
because Cobie's saying
what you guys have been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
He's just texting about how he can get money raised for his football team. He's like,
no, I didn't. I got some rum,
nice.
keto snacks.
It's been 2 hours and 22 minutes. Should we be wrapping it up, Cobie?
That's you might as well carry on. But what I'm saying is, like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. And if this stuff's going to go mainstream, you have to spend a lot. You have to be very dedicated, spend a lot of time to understand what you're talking about. So basically, this isn't mainstream finance. This is basically it's like another version of Wall Street. If you're in, you can learn about it, but this isn't mainstream finance. No.
Yeah.
I do think that's true.
This is when the Ethereum. Well, I was going to say when the Ethereum people say like, "Oh no, we should care because like we're banking the unbanked and we're building decentralized." You're just building another thing that nobody will understand what the fuck you're talking about. No, they will.
It's true. I think it's
It
true.
is all derivative. It's derivatives, and then you deposit that thing in another vault, and you get a derivative token for that, and then you can earn an interest on that, and then put that in Cream, and then you get another derivative proof token of that. Put that in Badger. It's like derivatives on derivatives on derivatives.
Hope you don't get rug pulled or hacked or.
But
I'm not disagreeing with those things, but if you can, like, if you're doing the BSC versus.
but wait, I want to know,
argument,
how are
it's
those
the same.
keto? Those are Pringles. How are those keto?
They're I have keto Pringles.
No way.
Yeah, we got keto Pringles in the UK.
Yeah.
Damn.
Good.
I think
They
I
make
might go
them in-
Yeah,
back
but
on
you can't
keto.
leave the country, so like there are some drawbacks. So.
Yeah, why
They
would you
make
want
them
to?
in-
We've got keto Pringles.
Exactly. They make them in Milton Keynes.
I no longer
Yeah.
care if it's the real Mark Cuban, because I like what he keeps saying in chat. He said people understand savings accounts and a little UX goes a long way. And I think that is probably the bullish case to counter what you said, Peter, because I totally agree with you. Like all this like complex, primitive finance crap, like no one wants to deal with that. They just want to know that like their savings earn XYZ yield. And that's where like
No, they just
UX
want to know that their savings is going to be safe and be able to store their value, and that's why the Bitcoin.
that's a baseline. That's a baseline. But I'm saying like, okay, well here's my dollars or my ETH, whatever I'm taking risk with, and I put it in an iron finance vault, and that's what delivers the yield. Let them do all that in the background. So I'm like bullish on the aggregators of these strategies. And over time, those strategies will change, but the aggregators will probably collect the deposits and be the ones that's going to be like where the winning occurs, and how the UX
Ledger, here's a serious question to you, Ledger. Serious question. I actually really agree with everything that you just said. I think that this is what people care about, and I think what they will want is an easy UX to do it, like a mobile app or something like that. I totally agree with you. It's definitely, one thing is for sure, it's not going to be built on Bitcoin. I'm not even sure what it means to be built on Bitcoin, but it's not. But the thing is, if those people get this app, they download it from the App Store, why would they care to have it on Ethereum? They're just going to get an app from a brand that they know and trust. I'm not saying it's going to be Binance, it's going to be someone. And the app will work, behind the scenes, it will be a whatever. It's probably not going to manage private keys for you. It's going to be centralized. It's going to be, because it's easiest, and it's going to be easier to compete. Like if someone's going to, let's say Yearn Finance is going to make a mobile app in a year, right? And they're going to put like a lot of efforts and resources into making it like really great. That's good, but that's gonna be X amount of effort, and then someone else is gonna show up, and with X, with 30% of that effort and 30% of the resources, they're gonna spew out something that is better. They're gonna have better distribution because they're gonna have good distribution channel like Binance has, and they'll just do better. Like how is Yearn ever going to compete with that? That's the main question.
I think there's significant challenges, and a lot of it comes down to whether, I don't even know, like Web3 stuff can work, and whether the onboarding to those systems can also work. And there's a lot of assumptions there. I'm not saying that this is overnight stuff, but I'm saying it's worthy experimentation stuff. And we're also seeing it being backed up by a lot of money.
No, of course.
But I think like IPFS and the idea of like, it's not even here's one server that runs this website, but like here's this image that you can represent on, completely decentralized Web3 stuff, and figure all that out. There's a ton of stuff to figure out. There was a ton of stuff to figure out with like Web 2, as ETH people like to say, and how the web works. And I think if the web itself can be accessible in a decentralized manner and managed in a decentralized manner, all of that super extraordinary roadblocks to like occurring. It's not like a tomorrow type of thing. If that can occur, that's where the Yearn decentralized finance wins. That could be a multi-decade process, but you're talking about upending an entire financial system. If that only takes 30 years, that's no different than the way the web matured from 1990 to 2020.
Main difference, though, you just brought up IPFS, is that IPFS is another example of what I was talking about before. Fundamentally, it's a really cool, innovative technology, but it's not needing the Filecoin token. It does not need FIL. Filecoin, is an implementation of
I don't care
this
about
protocol.
I don't care all about
So
all
you
that.
could,
Brad, next time we
scale
go
out.
on a podcast like this, Brad, I'm gonna do like a prep talk with you, and we're gonna weed away those arguments. They're not good. Those are not good arguments.
I
Those
mean,
are like
it's
2015
true.
arguments.
You don't need
You have
it.
to like up your game, man.
I don't know. I think in 5 years,
I did not expect Udi dunking on Brad.
Udi does this all the time.
the
Udi dunks on me. I've had
It's
him on
true.
my show twice, and he keeps.
Brad, everybody dunks on you, dude.
Peter does. What, so you
I
guys
can
don't
imagine
think-
I imagine your mother dunks on you. Your
So
kids dunk
you
on
don't
you.
think that's a
Your
good
wife
argument?
dunks on you.
You don't think it's a good argument
man.
that
I
because
haven't heard you make a good argument in 4 years.
Wow.
so,
Peter with a drink is better than Peter without a drink. I can tell you that.
Honestly,
about-
when you're
what
making
about-
me look smart, what the fuck's going on in your life?
hey, I'm not going to invest in your football team if you keep dunking on me. I'm just kidding.
Sorry,
I'll
I'm
still
only
invest.
joking.
Let me in the pre-sale,
I'm
please. Let me in the
I'm
pre-sale.
only joking.
So, okay, what did you guys think happened then in 2018 and 19? If it didn't prove to us that the market was telling us that utility coins have no fundamental value,
They
and
came
that the
back
value
and they brought productive assets to the table. Like the things that performed in that bear market were things that bring fees back to token holders. I was baffled watching freaking synthetics and Chainlink go up, except for they were like delivering the base layer of decentralized finance stuff and the token models for all of the stuff that works after that.
I do think utility tokens are useless, but there's like utility token thing is like 2017 language in it. Like recently, Adam Back jumped into my replies. It's weird, Adam, because like he don't follow me, but he tweets me all the time. Like all the time is like every time I say anything about Bitcoin, he's there like, well, I think this. I'm like, bro, if you're gonna put me on a list and look at the list all the time, just follow me. It's fine. It doesn't like reduce your reputation. I got 300,000 followers. You just blend in. But he always like
Nah, you'd
messages me some
screenshot
shit.
it. You'd screenshot it and tweet it out.
I think he was talking to you, Cobie, because you were a big holder of Bitcoin. So he likes to kind of think of the holders of Bitcoin. But maybe now that you sold all your Bitcoin, he won't care about replying to you anymore.
Yeah, maybe. But he sent me this like paper on like tokens and why tokens are going to zero, and it was written in like December 2017, and all the language was like utility tokens, blah 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 blah. It felt like I was reading an ICO paper from 2017, and like it just doesn't even represent the like current landscape, like what exists now.
Aave is a utility token, basically. It doesn't have.
No.
I know it's a governance token.
It's really
it has
not the
protocol
same.
fees. It has
Yeah, it's not the
protocol
same
fees that
whatsoever.
you get paid out. But
It's much more close. It's much more close. It's much closer to a security token, and the Howey test prong that it is potentially failing on is around the level of decentralization. But in all other aspects, it almost looks like a security.
Yeah, and the PE, like the protocol fees to the valuation of the token is insane. So it makes it a utility token in my eyes, just like a speculative instrument.
That's valuation. Maybe you disagree with the valuation, but it's not the same as the utility tokens of 2017. It's just not the same thing. It's there, and look, we're not going to make any, like, people watching this are not going to come out any more convinced if we keep repeating those arguments from 2015. They're just not applicable to the current situation. That's not what happened.
Listen, I don't want to have a bad view of the macro landscape, and I'm curious what Cobie thinks of that, because in 2018 and 19, I felt like the fat protocol thesis and MV equals PQ and all that stuff was mostly disproven. And now we're just back in another FOMO bubble, and it's just things are pumping for no reason.
The way I think about it, right, is I thought crypto was interesting because fundamentally I don't trust people very much. Very skeptical of human beings and human beings' motives, and if I'm totally honest, don't like people. Started a podcast so I never have to go outside and never have to interact with people again, and like the most human interaction I'll ever have is through this screen.
I can confirm that because I drove down to I don't want to say where it is because I'm on TalkShoe, but I drove down to his house the other day and agreed time, and he blew me out.
I was asleep.
I was literally there.
I was asleep. It was like 2:30 p.m. and I was asleep, but I was asleep.
Yeah. So he doesn't want to see people.
But the reason I thought crypto was interesting is because I had this, I don't know if it's naive, I still don't know, but I had this belief that taking out the middlemen and removing the banks was an exceptionally good thing for how money works in society. And if you could remove banking, the cronyism of banking and the profiteering of banking from how human beings interact with money, that would be net positive for the world. Now,
Really?
like Bitcoin, yeah, like I think banks, like I
Really?
think that, yeah,
You
dude,
did-
I went to
you-
build
You didn't just
Monzo
think I
because-
just want. Yeah, but that's different. Monzo's different. You traded crypto. You traded shit coins because you wanted to upend the banking
No,
system.
the reason when I first heard of it, I was like, that sounds good. I can understand why people were like that. Like, I understand how this can be positive for the world.
That little period here, and then this whole period here, you traded shit coins and got rich. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, of course, of
and
course.
then you did Monzo.
Yeah, of course, like
I don't-
everything I do
bu-
is so that I can be richer than everyone, and then like I can
Yeah, that's
buy
it,
the
that's
world
it.
and evict everyone, of course. But
Stay Cobie,
at the same
stay Cobie.
time, like this shit wouldn't go up if it was just net negative for the world. Like if we'd started off with just like the environment narrative and there was like no benefits or no upside whatsoever. I mean, maybe it would. Everyone was like, if the agreement was like, we all hold this and we get rich. Like that's what happened with SafeMoon. But I genuinely did believe at the beginning that, and maybe it's naive, who knows, fucking who cares, that removing middlemen from finance was a good thing. And at Monzo, I helped build a bank that was trying to build a bank, for real people, and tried to do a similar thing, because I think that decisions are often made in closed rooms by a corporate dude who went to Oxford University, never struggled for anything, has a super sheltered life. They went straight to a big bank. They went on the VP track. Now they're vice president of fucking lending risk. And they make decisions in their room while high on cocaine that impact real people's lives. And they don't think about the knock-on benefits of that. They think about getting a promotion or getting a higher bonus. They don't think about what are the implications of the decisions I'm making. And the regulators are fucking miles behind. They're like 15 years behind on enacting change that has benefit to normal people, and like people that interact with money, the people that need loans from the bank. The fucking VP dickwag from Cambridge, who he don't give a shit about them. And if you remove that middleman, I think things would get better. Now, decentralized finance just extends on that concept to me, and I think there's a bunch of shit in DeFi. There's a bunch of just we put a token on top of a token, and then we get a third token out, and everyone's rich. And it's not security because look, we did these 3 tokens in this funny way where it's decentralized and whatever. I think there's a bunch of shit like that. But if you think about it more simply and at the base level, you have a lending protocol, right? That's just transparent. You can understand it. It's on chain. It's clear what happens, and there's no dude sitting there going, well, I'm just going to tweak this, and everyone gets now you have to use Wonga instead because you can't afford your loan anymore. I'm just going to take back all the money because we've decided to change our policies, and you can't really do anything because there's no option. There's a banking cartel of people that are offering you the same fucking deal, so if you don't like it, where are you going to go? Now, if there's a transparent version of this that's done on chain, and it's permissionless and trustless, and you can figure out what you're getting yourself in for, and one random dude who's high on drugs can't just decide one day he's going to change everything, I think that's better for the world. And I think that is what a lot of DeFi is trying to do at the core. So,
and that's why BSC is great.
I agree with you right up until that last part. I think the majority of DeFi is not really that.
But I think it is,
that
because
can
I
get
think
built on Bitcoin.
I think that's what it started as, right? It started as that. It started with Aave and synthetics and etc. Trying to build a piece of
if that one idea plays out halfway, it's a multi-trillion-dollar protocol.
Someone just said Cobie talks way too much, like you're saying a bunch of nothing. Mate, don't listen to my podcast.
No, he's good. That was
What
good.
I was just the
Wait,
last
dude,
person, Cobie.
tuning into this for 2.5 hours. What are you doing with your time?
It was
Cobie,
it was a
Cobie,
nice
I
thing
agree with
after a
him.
nice thing.
You've come on the podcast. You're even more of a bellend.
No, but Cobie, when you get all serious and philosophical, it's I find it hard to take seriously because of the way you text.
Well, I text exactly like my mom does.
You don't send me deep philosophical texts about the banking industry, and
Yeah, because you aren't the audience, mate.
I know.
You don't want to hear it, do you? You just want to ignore my trading alpha. I text you, buy this now, it's going to double in 7 days. And then it doubles in 7 days. I go, did you buy? And you go, can't buy that, mate. I'm all in
Can't buy.
Bitcoin.
Pierre Rochard and Emmy.
I'm just so jealous of Peter's bourbon and Pringles lifestyle going on right now.
No, this is rum, and these are keto Pringles.
Okay, well that's just like worse versions of both, but
just to circle back,
Still
I
pretty
just
good.
want to finish because I do
Go
think
ahead.
I do think it's important, or I do think it's at least true that Aave and synthetics and all these like things that initially were doing, basically what they're doing is they're rebuilding some part of the financial system in a way where there's no middleman, or where the middleman is as trustless or decentralized as possible, and you can participate in this and own part of that protocol or that network for your participation, rather than the ownership or the profits from this thing existing being centralized as well. I think that obviously gets bastardized by people who come along and they go, well, if they're doing that, I can use this model and do something that's worse or shit or goes up more. And I think that's what you see now in your safe moons and your like moon rug and whatever. People that are just taking this model and turning it into like bastardizing it and turning it into some just like a pump and dump. But I don't think that's
What was
when
Safe
people
Moon?
Safe Moon was just it was like code that it was a token. When you traded the token, when you sold it, you lost 10%, and that 10% was put into the liquidity pools so that it was like people had more liquidity to sell. So it was basically tokenomics that were designed so that it only went up, basically, and that as it went up, there was more and more liquidity for people to sell. But like when people started out building synthetics, when Kane was building synthetics, I don't think he was sat there going like, all right, if I design tokenomics like this and I put the token like this and I do the marketing like this, it's going to go so high, I'm going to be so rich. I think he was genuinely trying to build something that adds value and is useful. Same with Aave, same with Compound, same with Maker. They were trying to build infrastructure, like crypto infrastructure, that is useful to people and users in the ecosystem. And the token models just allow shared ownership of that thing rather than centralized ownership of that thing. But of course it gets bastardized and turned into like fucking like chicken token and whatever. But
Guys,
and it gets pumped too high for what the fundamental value of the protocol
God, you
fees.
So
sound
don't-
like
so don't
freaking
buy
Vinny.
it.
You sound like
So does
Vinny talking
everything.
about, I'm trying to save this from a bubble.
I tried to prevent this bubble.
All right.
No, I just think people are going to get so wrecked when this bubble pops. When the crypto bubble pops, people that think that the fundamental value is in a decentralized protocol when they actually have VCs.
So don't buy it.
No, I mean,
If you think it's too
I guess
expensive,
you're
don't
right.
buy it. What's the problem?
Well, that's why I talk about Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin is just going to continue sucking in tens of trillions of dollars of value as all these
If
other
Bitcoin
assets
keeps
bleed
going
to
up,
Bitcoin.
If Bitcoin keeps going up, altcoins will keep going up because there'll be loads of people that are rich that I want to get more rich. Like as long as there's volume on a asset that is going up in crypto, like speculative assets will outperform. Maybe not the current ones, sure. Maybe there's a musical chair scenario and people buying cream at the top might not like be able to hold cream forever. And as long as participants understand that these are more speculative, they are more risky, you might buy some unproven shit that goes to zero, the TVL goes to zero. That's fine, as long as people understand. Like I don't think anyone out there is credibly saying you need to buy fucking like SafeMoon. It's gonna go up over the next 10 years. They're saying it's gonna go up over the next 10 hours. Like everyone understands. Like there's an agreement that like everyone's trying to dump on each other on Pancake Swap. Like I think that is. Maybe I think it's almost an explicit rule rather than just being implicit. But
I think a lot of it's dog shit, though. Even the stuff that you guys are saying is like good thesis investments, like the comps and Yearns and Aves and all that. I think it's just like stocks right now. Everything's overvalued.
Why is that dog shit? Why is that dog shit?
Because everything's overvalued.
Like stocks,
and
yes.
once the macro environment, once the macro markets change, and maybe if we continue printing trillions of dollars forever and they prevent a recession. Sure.
Isn't Amazon overvalued?
Yeah, everything's overvalued.
Okay, so
wait, so
like
you're,
some-
you're bear everything except Bitcoin.
Pretty much. As long as.
But if you believe in inflation, all those things are where the money is going, right? Like because those are
to a certain point, because come on, like Bitcoin actually has fundamental value and potential to become like 40, 50 trillion market cap as a global reserve, stateless, apolitical reserve currency. The shitcoins aren't going to follow Bitcoin up to global reserve status. So there's a ceiling
No,
on
but
how far they can
but
go
they can
up.
still outperform because they're so small now. They can still outperform even if they don't.
Yeah,
even if
that's
Aave is
possible.
not the world reserve
Sure, yeah,
currency,
it's possible.
It probably
Not
isn't.
long term, but
It can still
short
outperform
term.
Bitcoin.
If you're a good trader, if you're like Cobie and you're driven to actually like do your like outperform everybody by buying Peter's football team. And
All right, we're gonna have to call it in just a second. Family's coming home. Cobie, can you do the pitch? Get the Maxis to deliver us some alpha before we go.
Yeah, wait, I've got two questions. So at the end, we always ask for some alpha, but I got two questions. One, I want to know the luxury thing you're going to buy. So like, Peter, you just bought an Aston, but like when Bitcoin hits $1 million and Ethereum hits 750K, what are you gonna buy as like your I'm not gonna be a real Bitcoiner anymore. I'm gonna spend some money I earned. What's the like thing you're gonna get? Brad, what are you buying yourself?
I need to upgrade my yoga swing, so I'll probably get
You have a yoga swing already.
Oh yeah, let me show you.
Yeah, pull the green screen.
1,000 thread counts.
Go get on there, Brad. Just go get on there while the others deliver us some alpha.
I'll give you some alpha. I'll give you some alpha, and I'll show you some exercises while you guys give your answers.
Yeah, sounds
You're
good.
gonna
All
give us some beta.
What's your alpha? And then
Yeah, that's beta. I better not do it.
do it.
Wait, Peter, what are you gonna buy?
I don't know, man. Well, I'm gonna buy a football club.
Okay.
Oh yeah, football club. That was easy.
Buy a football club. We've talked about
Rudy,
this.
what are you buying?
I probably not buying anything. I'm really not that kind of person. But
Need
if you're gonna
sunglasses.
make me, yeah, exactly.
All right, wait, hold on. So Brad just did the green pull thing, and I need somebody in the chat to like put a new scene behind the green screen, like in what he's covering
pull
up,
it down.
please. Yeah, such a good clip.
All right, and then every
Stretch.
every episode we have the guests do
The ledger face.
well, you've just done it now on the screen, dude. We need the alpha, so I asked for like a learning, some wisdom, something that like maybe your parents or your grandparents taught you, or you read in a book that sort of stuck with you and makes you a better person, a more profitable person. Just something like make that our chat people that are watching happier in their life.
I'll start.
Udi,
It will probably make you miserable though. So the my background is like software development, and because of that, I kind of started out by evaluating all of this stuff on like technical merits. And I think the biggest, learning I have about that is that it's a mistake. The technical side hardly matters. I would look at things like, of course, the type of team and what they can accomplish, and also distribution, I think, is going to be the thing that's going to win the race in the current bull market. Not the tech. Like if your favorite coin like Cardano is saying that they have like a great team of scientists, I would say that doesn't matter at all at this point. It just doesn't matter. So FYI.
Yeah, agree. I think in the froth in the bull market, it doesn't matter. It matters like between cycles, cycle to cycles, where the emperor wears no clothes. But in a cycle, it's just like memes in it. All right, Peter, hit us.
It's a tricky one because I don't really have anything. Don't support Tottenham. Just don't
Support Tottenham.
support Tottenham.
Peter, I don't think that's fair, Peter, because I think that you are a pretty good representative of utilizing the bear market to build a brand and a business to create income, and then like not have to tap into your investments and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that was
And
a very smart bear market move.
You field like the majority of shit. Like you get more shit online than like everyone else here combined, maybe apart from Udi.
Yeah, because I piss off Bitcoiners and shitcoiners. So, but like that, whatever. Actually, it doesn't even matter. The only thing I would say is like, if you, God, it's trying to say it without sounding cringy, but basically, you can definitely make a good life for yourself by working really fucking hard and learning how to sell. Like they're the two things. Work really fucking hard. Like if you're like moaning about your life, going, oh, my life sucks, I bet you're not really working that hard. Like, I bet you're not pulling 80-hour weeks, working weekends, working Sunday, up at 6 a.m., working till midnight. Just work the fucking shit out of what you do, and you'll outperform everybody else doing what you're doing. That I would definitely stand by. I don't care what anyone fucking says. I've worked my bollocks off for the last 4 years, without fucking doubt. Work hard. I mean, look, you can be a moron and work hard. You're not going to get anywhere. But if you got like half a brain and you work hard, you'll get somewhere. Yeah, that's all I'd say. Just work fucking hard. That's how you can beat other people.
That's good. Brad?
All right, Brad, you got to close the show. Wrap us up. What is the alpha? What do people need to learn?
Give us a good communist take.
A few books to read or listen to. The
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx Communist Manifesto. The latest paper by the World Health Organization on the effects of COVID on 20-year-olds. No, I think for this market, for sure, if nobody's read the book, The Complete Turtle Trader, it's a really interesting book to describe how these people that were kind of like what a lot of people coming into crypto are, just people trying to make money. It teaches you, if you don't have any risk management skills and portfolio management skills, it teaches you how to position your trades and position your portfolio so that in the event that you're wrong and your DeFi protocol is not, the future of finance and it's just an illegal security, in that event where it gets totally wrecked, you're not totally wrecked. So that book, and then for people that end up having bags like the size of a Safe Moon Millionaire or something like that, another book to read would be Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It's just a really great story about this fictional sort of trader who started his career in the turn of the 1900s trading random shit stocks all the way up to becoming a market maker and controlling syndicates and doing private deals and stuff like that. And he teaches you about how to exit on liquidity and how to think about like not trying to squeeze out that last 2x out of this thing you're up like 50x on. Like just take the liquidity when you can and go back into your portfolio management rules. So for anybody that watches this show, I imagine some of you guys probably made $1 million in this cycle because they've been giving out lots of calls that have been discussing things that have been going up like crazy. And I just encourage people to kind of like also learn about Bitcoin and why I think Bitcoin is sort of like the conservative place where you want to go back to, and don't just write it off as if it's like boomer coin or whatever like that. Most people aren't Cobie. Most people aren't going to actually be able to outperform Cobie. So you want to hold, I think, a majority of your position in Bitcoin by the time this market's done.
The nice thing is you don't have to tell them. They'll come back on their own. You don't have to they'll just come back when everything else crashes down. So it's fine. Just chill.
Ledger, wrap us up.
Thanks for being here. Follow uponly.tv. Good to be with you all. Thank you to Blockfolio for being our partner. Go to uponly.tv/Blockfolio. If you do decide to trade or stack sats or whatever your choice is, you can do it on Blockfolio. Just go to uponly.tv/Blockfolio. Download it today. Track your portfolio just like you've always done it and loved it. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a freaking great day. Bye-bye.
Sell your chairs.
What?
Sell your chairs.